Hello! Happy Christmas! Hopefully you can all hear me. Otherwise, I'm talking to myself. But, no change there then. Right, we have young Jonathan in. Yay! Happy Christmas, Jonathan. And we have Debbie. We have Deb. We have... Who else do we have? Let's keep moving.
You're
Peter!
live.
Hello, Peter! We have Patricia. Hello, Patricia! Oh, and Kim is in the house. And we have Carol, excellent, and Paul. I think I need better glasses, Still following up here. Oh, Graham! Graham, what treats have you got? I'll admit, I've somewhat overindulged myself in gluten-free biscuits. It won't end well, will it, Mike?
No.
It's like, I feel a bit queasy. I haven't even attacked the mince pies yet. Oh, still, plenty of time. Plenty of time. Who else have we got in here? Hello, Paul. No, you're not too late. And I think I've got everybody. Fingers crossed I've got everybody. If I've not, shout at me. It'll be fine. Now, where was the question, Mike, about MacBites headquarters?
Further up,
Read it to me. Find
Patricia.
it.
I'd like to learn more about the MacBites HQ stuff. I've only ever been to an after-hours live event.
Oh, how have you missed MacBites? MacBites started life as a podcast, an audio-based podcast about all things Apple-related, where we take a somewhat, what would you say, sarcastic look at Apple.
Yes.
It's turned into that, to be honest. You need to talk to Jonathan. Young Jonathan was at school when we started, weren't you, Jonathan? You'll be heading to retirement at this rate. The time is flying by, be honest. It's flying by. Right, we'll talk more about the podcast and everything else that we do at some point. There you go. How about that? Right, so hopefully you can see what I can see. It's looking well so far. If you hear anything that sounds like Concorde taking off, that's my Mac. It's morphed into my old Mac. Something's upset it. We think it's a cloud service. Yes, iCloud, we're looking at you. So fingers crossed it'll calm down, but at the minute it's going absolutely crazy with itself. So we'll see how that ends up. Oh, it's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is my favourite day. But more on that very, very shortly. So it's a joy to spend it with you. We've got little card things, haven't we, Mike, that we've not opened?
We have.
We know that some of them are from you guys, so we're saving them. I'm going to open them on Christmas morning and be excited. Right, what are we up to today? Why have I got... Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong screen. There you go, that's a good start. Right, we have the week at MacBites headquarters. What a week it's been. But then it will be. One, we're on holiday. That never ends well. And two, it's Christmas week. Then we've got some Notion JDI updates. Who knows what JDI stands for? Don't give it away, Mike, because you didn't know. You do now, but I had to fill you in. Then we've got Pixelmator Photo for iPhone. Well, we have Air Server permitting, because I've got to get it on the screen first. Then Mike is doing dynamic array functions, aren't you? Before we head and edit the Christmas video. So last week I mentioned what we've been up to, and I got mails that you would like to see how it was put together. So that's what we're going to do. Amongst all the other Christmas frivolity, because I've got one outstanding thing left to do that I haven't done, apart from wrap presents. Don't ask. Never gets done early, does it, Mike?
No.
But no, I've got to watch Scrooge at midnight.
Kim says just do it.
Just do it, that's exactly right. So they've done some JDI updates that they should have done, to be honest, 2 years ago. But you can't moan, can you? They finally got round to it. So, 1080p, what have they done to you? They've been quite reasonable with me this week.
1080p.
Oh, well done, Mike. Right, how you sort that out, cog right-hand corner. While you're down there is a like button. There's also a dislike button, but there's no point hitting that. One, because you couldn't possibly know you dislike it yet, although I guess some people could. But you won't see anything anyway. Whereas you will. You'll see it go up by one if you click the like button.
Graham says my first webinar was the Pixelmator one in 2008. Apparently the week before, Elaine had been enlarging parts of Lara Croft.
Oh, I was, yes. Did you miss that one, Graham? Oh dear. That was the liquify tool in Photoshop. Back in the day when you could do that without being thrown off the internet forever. But I wouldn't dare do that demo now. In fact, I wouldn't even do it the way you're supposed to do it. You know, where you like narrow a lady's waist, because that's like, no, I wouldn't dare. But yeah, that was a good one. That one lives on in the memory. I do believe we've got a recording of that. I might have to dig that out. Anyway, let's travel back in time to last Saturday. What were we up to last Saturday? 2 weeks into our holiday. Oh, it was book club. It was the unofficial one. The unofficial one, which was dedicated, notice there was there, to getting things done by David Allen. It was the last session. It was a bit of a ride, actually, because it was only 4 weeks. So it was people demonstrating that their GTD systems that they've built for themselves in Rome. So it went a bit long. I know it could have gone on another hour, seriously. But it was the last one, so it's a wrap on that. But rumour has it that book will be back. I mean, it is a classic, to be honest. So once that was over, we were kicking around, weren't we, because there was no football. COVID problem. So the next highlight for us was Tesco's delivery in the evening, and that was it. We're getting boring in our old age. Saturdays were usually chaotic. Never mind, we enjoyed it. Tesco surpassed themselves, having brought on Saturday night something that I decided to devour on Sunday. I was so excited. Hobnobs were my favourite biscuits back when I could eat gluten, and I haven't had one since. So I was so excited when Mike said, "You do know they do gluten-free hobnobs, don't you?" Well, no was the short answer to that, but now I do. So Mike got some. Yeah, that's not really good, is it? You know the flags at the bottom? The calories, the fat, the saturates and the sugars. But you know, it's only once every whenever. But when I opened them, they're not hobnobs. Or they're not hobnobs as I remember hobnobs, are they? No. Hobnobs were easily 3 times thicker and smothered in milk chocolate. So can you imagine opening your present on Christmas morning and it's like, no, that's not what I was looking at. They were more like ginger nuts with no ginger flavour. But I consoled myself, and I shared this on Slack as well. There was a film on, A Unicorn for Christmas. Well, that had to be recorded, didn't it? So I've not seen it yet, you know me with films, but I did actually record the unicorn film while I was being upset with my hobnobs.
Just as you said unicorn.
Just as I said unicorn, look at that, Dee's arrived. Perfect timing. Dee, did you see this film? It was a new film from Canada, 2021. I haven't seen it yet, but I've got it recorded. That was Saturday. Oh! And I actually did put it in Slack and said, this one's for Dee. Right, which took us on to Monday. If I thought the Hobnob news on Sunday was bad, Monday was even worse. Now that is a hobnob. Can I just point that out before we start? That's a hobnob. Having said that, have you seen them, Mike? They're a bit skinny, aren't they? I swear they've put these hobnobs on a diet in the last 25 years.
I think you're right.
Yeah, they used to be way thicker than that. But a genuine hobnob has milk chocolate on the top. So I was swindled. But never mind. And then they said the price was to soar anyway. So never mind. That's before we get a sugar tax on it. Oh... Anyway, this is the houses close by to us. They are competing with each other for Christmas decorations, as you can see. I mean, that tree actually belongs to the council, And I wondered, where's the power cable? And then I thought, you know what, leave it alone, walk away. I can just see a power cable coming across the path. But yes, they are definitely trying to outdo one another. Well, how these don't get stolen, I really don't know. But they are very festive, aren't they? They are very, very festive. So they are impressive, to be honest. I'm loving some of these. We haven't done that. We haven't done the full Monty yet. Those I'm particularly enjoying. We were in the studio, off and on. Can't say any more about that yet, but we were. Which took us to Tuesday. Tuesday was a fiasco. You know when you've placed an Amazon order? That. 12 o'clock, noon, it's on the way. I thought, great, be with you today. 12:30, no it won't. And there was a big long explanation about how they don't normally miss a delivery, but blah, blah, blah. And if it hasn't arrived by the 25th, let them know. And I thought, just a minute, the 25th is Christmas Day, you muppets. So bad words were said, considerably. But that was okay, because at 2:25, it's on the way again. I thought, is it? You found it? Awesome. 45 minutes later, I've lost it again. I'm not kidding. I was getting mail after mail after mail. So at this point, I thought, do you know what? It's not coming. Leave it. Walk away. Don't get giddy about it. But 4:20, it's on its way again and out for delivery. So I had high hopes. It did actually arrive. This shopping with Elaine never gets any easier, does it?
No.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Which took us on to Wednesday, when Lola decided she wanted a closer look at all of these Christmas things. So she did. They are cute, aren't they? But then, as you can see, with just her tail in the distance, she'd spotted something else that she wanted more than that. Now, if you are new with us, you may not know that we have a thing, don't we, about food just being left in anywhere, basically, on the walls. This started with chickens last year.
It did.
Frozen chickens on the pub wall.
Frozen chicken.
Yeah. And it carried on from there. We've had tomatoes, we've had bananas, we've had yoghurt, you name it. Well, we have a new one today that Lola spotted. Let's take the rice pudding tins home, Dad, and cook them. I mean, how do you lose 3 tins of rice pudding on your way home and not know? Bizarre, but that's what happened. So, on to Thursday. Can I just point out the weather's never good in Manchester? But cold is one thing. Raining is another. She was not a happy dog. That is her special blanket. Towel. That towel, it holds, is it 5 litres of water?
I think so, yeah.
It's the thickest towel I've ever seen, and it's a fast-drying towel, but not fast enough for the princess. That's her little protest. I'm on my bed, but I'm not happy, and I'm not playing with my toys. I'm just going to sit here with this towel on top of me, scowling. Oh dear, oh dear. Which took us on to today. As you probably know, today is Christmas Eve. But who can remember what they were doing on the 24th of December, 1999? Now, handily, Mike and I both know the answer to that, don't we?
Yes.
Oh, we do. We got engaged 22 years ago. Yeah. Weddings, there's never a rush, is there? You can't rush these things. 22. We could do it on our 25th anniversary, couldn't we? We did threaten the priest with that because initially he didn't know that we weren't married. He just assumed we were married. And then he made the fatal error, this was at least a year after he'd met us, of saying, oh, when's your anniversary? I went, what anniversary? Your wedding anniversary. Oh, we're not married. Did we ever say we were married? Which you'd think, would outrage a priest. But no, he took it in great heart and decided it was a good excuse for a marriage. But we're still holding out, so there you go. Right, let's get on to these Notion JDI updates. JDI, just do it. Where did that come from? That was a concept that Adobe pushed right and left. Obviously, there's a lot wrong with Photoshop and all their other apps. And some of the stuff that was wrong with it, people have been saying was wrong with it for years and years and years. So they initiated this system, and I think they were doing it like once a week for maybe 8 weeks. And then they kind of put it as to like something that they would do one day a month. Just do it updates. So they're the small things, quality of life improvements, other applications call them, Rome calls them that, where they're not a huge addition of a new feature. But what they've done is fix something that's been annoying for years and years. So that's what they've done this week. So much so are they just do it. They've not actually told anybody they've done it. Not yet. Which is silly, because some of them are very good. So let's go and have a look at some of these things. So I'm going to need Notion for a start, aren't I? Where's my mouse pointer disappeared to? Oh, never a dull moment with my mouse pointer. Right, I will get into Notion. I will bring it on the screen so you can see it. Right, I had it called something entirely different before, but we'll go for this. We'll get it full screen. We will create a new page in my private bit there. There we go. Right, you will know. So this is our JDI updates. You will probably know that you can use an angle bracket and a space, and it will make a toggle. And a toggle is like, let's call that a headline. And when you move into the empty toggle, you can put content, but the content can be other blocks. So I could put bullets in there for a start. So this could be my item 1 and my item 2, etc. Now, the problem with this has always been, that's great, and I can toggle these and hide them. And I use that a lot. But the problem is, sometimes this is what you want. You want a heading, and you want that to be formatted as a heading. And then you want a heading 2. Oh dear, she can't spell. Heading 2. Formatted as a heading 2. And unsurprisingly, a heading 3 formatted as a heading 3. Underneath these items, you will then put, under the headings, you will put items. So we're back to item 1 and item 2 and so forth. This being a heading 1. But the problem is, if you go to the beginning of this and think I'll turn it into a toggle, that'd be cool. And, you know, this has been obvious since day one. Turn it into a toggle. Now it turns it into a toggle. But it didn't used to turn it into a toggle. It was an either or. But how is this working now? Well, you can do a H1. So you put in one hash and you put in a H1. And you start putting your heading in. But that is not a toggleable heading because there was no such thing. But if you use the slash and you start typing heading, you have the basic blocks for headings, a heading 1, 2 and 3. But now you have, and I don't know why only one's marked as new because all 3 of these are new. These are now called advanced blocks and these are toggle headings. They are exactly to look at the same as a heading 1, 2 or 3. But they toggle. So if we choose to make that, this is what you would get if you made a heading 1. This is what you get if you make a toggleable heading 1. So a heading 1 toggle. And it's like a hybrid of the two. So whereas before we had just these hidden underneath something at the same level, now you can really make a change with this, make an impact and have it how you want. So let's say we take these 3 things and we want to put them in there. Then you can toggle them underneath. That is actually quite huge in terms of an update, in terms of usability. Because we had a page, way back. Was it? Shall I try and see if I've got it? Review of the year 2018. See if you can find it. That looks possible. That looks possible. There we go. So my problem with this was it just went on and on and on because I couldn't toggle them. Now obviously this is from 2018, but wouldn't it have been great if I could have had my January with all of this lot underneath it? And then I could toggle it. So when I've finished doing January and I've finished doing February, I can concentrate on March without it becoming a scrolling hell, which was why, to be honest, we moved to Craft, because Craft has always done this. But what we could do here, if we do a slash, we should be able to do a...
Kim's impressed with this toggle.
You like the toggle? The toggle's cool. Right, let me do it at this end. It's easier. Right, if I go over here and I do the turn into, down here I have a toggle heading. Now I'm not actually sure what level that heading is. These are 3s usually, so that's probably a 2. So if that's a 2, I'd want to turn it into a toggle 2. Now I do still have to grab all of this lot and actually put them in there, but 1, it indents it. So if we compare that with what February looks like, where everything's at the same level, already that is easier to work with. But having it inside means once I've finished with it, I can get rid of it, totally get rid of it. So I would have to go through this and rejig the whole thing, which is mildly annoying, but I dare say I could live with it. So I'd have to do it once for each month, but once I've done it, and it makes it a whole lot easier to work with. Did I put in... I didn't even put in a table of contents, but let me put in a table of contents now. So if I go up here and... table of contents, which is also an advanced block, What that does is create this, which was what I was using instead of, really. But you can see now these are folded up here, and I would have to go to them and then open them up like that. If I then go back up here, oh, they don't, no, they're not updating automatically. If I wanted them with the things underneath, I would have to open them all up. But the good news with that is, if all of these were toggles, then I would have a much neater table of contents, because as you can see, the table of contents is absolutely huge as well. What I used to do with that to save the problem, do you know, the stuff you had to do for all of this. Let's get back to the top here. You're going to let me in, because at the minute I'm clicking in there. Oh, it's going at the bottom, but it'll do. All right, I would put there, I'd make a toggle, and I would call that table of contents. So it was just a standard toggle. I would then grab this and take it up to the other side of that, put it there, and then get out of the way, take all of this and put it in the toggle so I could hide it. So these are not huge differences in terms of, oh wow, they've added X and it's a huge deal. But in terms of making it more usable, absolutely. These are the things that you will face and deal with every single day that they've improved. So I love JDI Updates. I love that. Right, that's the first one. So that's toggles. So did I go to there? I think I did, didn't I? Let's totally back to the JDI Updates. So we've done all of the headings. Right, the other one is even more subtle, to be honest, and I haven't even tried it. So I'm going to try it live. If it all goes hideously wrong, you'll know why. Right, what we'll do is we'll create a table. So this is a table within a page, or is it? Yes, it is. Right, imagine that we're creating a habit tracker for the new year, because, you know, we're all going to get in shape and stuff, aren't we, for the new year, like everybody says they're going to. That kind of thing. So you want to track your habits. I actually did this for December a while back. There's a little prayer thing that you can say, and you have to say it 15 times a day. And you're like, you can do that in a batch of 15, and it's quite short, but you need to track that you've said it. You're right. And I did one of these for that. There's a million uses for it. So it could be that you want to, like, read 30 pages or something like that. So let's say let's say 20 pages of PPD books, so personal and professional development. What else might people want to put in a habit tracker, Mike? What habit? Water.
I was just going to say water. Yeah.
Drink 8 glasses of water. So these are the kind of things that people do.
Walk 10,000 steps.
Oh, that's a good one. Walk. Is that in a day, Mike?
What have I done
Does it
today?
count over a week?
What have I done? 11,451.
Oh, there's always one showing off, isn't there?
I think I left it running accidentally.
I sometimes do that. Right. So we've got 3 things we want to track. So how do we actually then track them? And what I've seen some people do is build out here, like we've got tags there, but we don't want to multi-select on tags. We want a checkbox. Right, and on that one, if let's say you're doing it monthly, instead of having that as tags, you would have that as the first day of the month. And then they do the same on the second. So the second day of the month and a checkbox. And you were able to bring these back, but only so far there was a minimum width for these things. So you can imagine what's going to happen here with something like this little habit tracker. You're not going to be able to fit 30 on if you can't make it narrower than that. Plus the fact, you know, as long as you keep this thing up to date on a daily basis, you don't even really need to see the numbers, do you? It's more of a grid. So once you've ticked it off, obviously the next empty one along the horizontal is the next day. They have finally allowed you to shrink these down to just the checkbox. It's so tiny, but wow, what a difference. Now, I actually said to Mike earlier, there's one of these that I think you'll like. That was it, Mike.
Oh.
You're not impressed, really, are you? For some of the things that we do, I think you would need to see what they are because they mean something. But if it's a habit tracker like this, that's actually impressive. Another way you could use it is you could leave these open so you can see the day until you've done it, and then shrink them down. So when you've said, yeah, done all of this on the first, I'll just scrunch that up. And then you will drag in from the right-hand side all of the other days as you come to do it. I'm liking that. I am liking that. So that is one of the other small updates. But I'm pleased that they're thinking about these things because they are quality of life improvements, really. I mean, yes, you can say just do it, but quality of life improvements is a much more descriptive term as far as I'm concerned. Those things will make a huge difference to me when I'm working with things like, I have toggles there for things like, one says add to Scrivener, but I actually use it for two different things. If I'm not at the stage where I'm adding something to Scrivener, this is in terms of preparing a MacBites, what I'll have that mean is something entirely different. So the title's actually irrelevant. It's basically just a checkbox that I want. And I think being able to narrow it down like that, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do that. Love that. Well impressed with that one. So let me know, does that float your boat as well? Or is it just me? It could well be just me. Just saying. Right, let's head off back in here. Okay, we have got Pixelmator Photo for iPhone. Now, you might think deja vu, hang on a minute, didn't we already have this? Well, we did, and I did a live session on it back in April 2019 when it came out. When it came out, Pixelmator Photo was, I mean, obviously, as soon as you say the word Pixelmator, you've got a vision in your mind of what it is, a photo editor. You add the word photo on the end, though, and it's like, and it's only available on the iPad. Which is understandable, the Affinity apps are only available on the iPad. But the problem with it was, it set expectations on so many different levels. The word Pixelmator set expectations, and the word photo set expectations. And some people absolutely loved it, and other people absolutely loathed it. I think it depended on your mentality when you're editing mobile. And the expectations were set by using the word Pixelmator. Instead of calling it, Pixelmator Junior, that would set expectations. No, they didn't. Pixelmator Photo. It sounded like it was going to be Pixelmator Pro, but for photos, on the iPad. Well, it turned into Marmite. You either loved it or you loathed it. There didn't seem to be any middle ground back then. So I did this full session on it. I think I put the link in, didn't I? And if I didn't, Michael find it. So I did this whole session on it, and people do seem to love or loathe it. Well, it's that application that is now available for the phone. But you'll notice a slight difference. That was when it was released for the iPad, and it was Pixelmator Photo. And now it's billed as Pixelmator Photo Pro Editor. So as well as Pixelmator and Photo, they've thrown the word Pro in. This better be good. Or people are going to have expectations that are not met. Now, the thing is, when it started, I cannot believe how they launched.
Patricia wants to know the difference between the iPhone iPad version and the one she's got on the Mac.
Well, the one on the Mac, there is Pixelmator for the Mac. That's been around years and years. And that is more of a Photoshop clone. It's an editor where the intention was you would open one photo and edit it, and potentially heavily edit it. Maybe you would take things out of it, you would remove elements, or you would change day to night or something like that. It was very heavy, intense work that you were able to do with it. Then they brought out Pixelmator Pro for the Mac. And again, don't put the word Pro in if you're taking features out, but that's what they did. So there were then two versions for the Mac. Pixelmator the standard one and Pixelmator Pro. The problem with Pixelmator Pro was it wasn't really Pro by comparison to Pixelmator. It didn't have anything like the same number of tools in it. The other issue with it was it wouldn't run on anything beyond a Mac that was 2 minutes old. So if you had a 2011, 2012 Mac, it wouldn't run on it. And the annoying thing with that was not only would it not run on it, you couldn't even buy it for when you would be able to use it because it was on half price offer at the beginning. So they have a long history of making complete mistakes when they come to launch something. The one for the iPad when it came out and the one for the phone, they're very different in terms of they're not for the heavy lift. They're for a specific range of edits that work really well mobile. But they are not really intended for heavy-duty detailed work like the version for your Mac. I will show you what it can do, and then you will be able to make a decision whether it's something that you want to add to what you're already using. But this one for the phone is exactly the same one as for the iPad. But when they announced it, they didn't tell anybody that. And as you can see, it's got a price on it. Why has it got a price on it when I already own the iPad version? I don't know either. Nowhere in the press information and all of the articles announcing its arrival did anybody say, if you've got the iPad version, it's free. But trust me, if you've got the iPad version, it's free. They have actually now fixed that. So what you had to do the day it was released was tap buy now and tap the price and tap yes please charge me, and eventually it said, oh, you've already got this. But it was quite hairy if you didn't want to potentially be charged another £3.50. But it is totally free. And now when you go into it, because I didn't even download that until today, when you go into it now, there's just a cloud to download it if you've already purchased on the iPad. So you might as well have it if you've got the iPad version because it's free. There you go. It's all about machine learning. So whereas the one on the Mac is to do with a range of tools, and particularly the original Pixelmator, it's a range of tools and you use them however you would like to use them, this one isn't. It's all about machine learning, and that came into the desktop version with Pixelmator Pro. So what has happened is they have analysed millions of photos and turned it into a machine learning experience where, technically speaking, it is going to recommend to you what's the best thing to do with your photo. And the machine learning settings have been grouped together in a group. So I'm going to take you through the settings before we look at it, because on a phone you can barely see it. There are a set of presets for black and white, and you'll notice at the top that there's a 2-character thing, BW. It says BW next to it, so there's just 2 characters representing black and white. As you go through the cinematic, which is CNN, and then the CF for classic films. So what these are pre-configured, based on machine learning, based on a specific look. So if you think about Instagram, you've got a way that you can make a photo look. Did you know I never apply a filter? Am I missing out here?
I never apply a filter.
I'm always concerned it'll turn the dog green or something, so I don't bother. But it's that kind of thing. So in addition to that, you've got modern films, MF. Are we all following along here? There'll be a test later. LS for landscapes. Vintage, now at least vintage I understood. I totally got vintage. Urban, which I thought, now that's going to be like buildings and making it look grungy. NX for night, so these are designed for shots taken in low light to make them look brighter. Then there's PX for presets from Pixelmator Pro. There's also a custom set, and they are what you have created, because luckily all of this can be edited, for which we're all grateful. So let's go and have a look at it. Permitting. Where's my phone gone? I had that on charge before. Right, so first thing I need to do is get it so you can see it. So let's do that. Fingers crossed. Everybody say a quick prayer. It's thinking about it. Awesome. Right, there we go. And there is the app. Right, so what I'm looking at here, this is the file management. You can access photos directly off the phone, but I'm going through iCloud Drive, where there is a photo folder for Pixelmator Photo. And what you're looking at here are the images that I actually used last time when I demonstrated this on the iPad. So you can see I've actually finished some of these images, like this one. I wonder if you can turn this sideways. No, don't upset it, leave it alone. So that's a finished one that I've done in here, and then I can go backwards. So I'm using that arrow in the top left corner to go backwards. Now, up here I have loaded into a folder, 160 for this show, the images, and these images are the same images, but these are the before images. So you can access photos in other locations. You can access them off the device. You can access them directly from iCloud, where you will have a Pixelmator folder if you have Pixelmator on the desktop. So there's all of that to go at. Right, let's start with something that doesn't look bad to start with, and then we can fix it. Oh, I know, we'll do a black and white one first. So, me and my granddad. Oh, he was my favourite, he really was. Look at me. Oh, I think Mum had me dressed up like a princess. That didn't last long, I can tell you. Once I got fractionally older, it was a real tomboy. Right, so I've got this image in here. Right, let's look at the navigation. You have the button in the top left to go back. You also have next to that an undo button. So if you've added something to this, you can undo it straight away. Then next to that, and the undo's dimmed out because I've not done anything, and next to that I've got another one, which is a line and then an angle bracket either side. Let's look at that one. It's dimmed out at the minute, can't do anything with it until I apply something to this. So the very next button is the magic wand that says ML next to it, machine learning. So what I'm going to do with this, we'll zoom in so we can see me and Grandad. I would say, how could that image be improved? Well, there's some healing that could go on. If we look at Grandad's shirt here on his jacket, right, this was a scan, so it's picked up some dust off the scanner. So I could fix that for a start. But when I look at the whole image, I'm thinking possibly a little bit more contrast. I haven't changed a bit, have I?
No.
She said. No, you'd still recognise me, you would. So if I just tap this machine learning option, you'll see that it's thinking about it with the 3 dots, and it's applied something. Now, is that an improvement? Well, I think that's more contrasty. Definitely more contrasty. But if I want to see the difference between what I had and what I've got, I could use the undo button, but it's easier to use the button next to it, which I call the before and after button. If I tap that, it puts that white line down the middle of the image. And in the middle there, I can pull that across and reveal the machine learning changes, or I can go the other way and you can see the before. So it's showing you the before and after in a lovely slider. And that is very smooth. That is very, very smooth. And then you can just tap it to toggle it off. So I think we've improved that. That's a bit of an improvement. The next button, so I'm moving in on here. I haven't actually done this. But next to that button, the one that's highlighted in yellow at the moment, there is a healing tool. So I've got this healing tool here, and I can change the size of it at the bottom. And obviously for this one, I'm going to need this quite small. And I'm just going to draw over these. And it's going to have a little guesstimate there, compare around it. You can be quite fast with this, just by drawing it on there, like that. You don't have to be that accurate. I'm going to look over that one there. Did I get that? Not quite sure. There we go. So you can actually do some quick healings with it as well. So up there, you can see there's another bit just by his ear. Let's get that bit. And there's something else there. There we go. That is really quick. It's really smooth, fast, just what you need. And obviously this is on your phone, so you're probably going to fix something on your phone and then send it to somebody. So the fact that you can do that on your phone is pretty impressive to start with. The fact it's very smooth is even better. Now this image itself was scanned. So if we look at the bottom of it, we can actually see that the photo itself, it was black and white to start with. It had a white border on it. And then that dark bit that you can see was the inside the scanner. So I'm looking up there and I'm thinking I need to fix that for a start. Can we fix that? There we go. But I'm going to go to the next one, which is the crop tool. And I'm going to crop out bits that I don't want. And you know, it's actually easier looking at the big screen than squinting at the phone. So I'm just going to take that. I'm going to leave a white border on it, but I'm just not going to have the biggest white border that I had. So let's just take a smidgen more off the bottom, not the right, just off the bottom. So it's almost equal, that'll do. Now, you can, while you're in here, in addition to a basic crop, which you've just seen me do, you've got the ability to straighten images. You can change the perspective. You can also rotate. You've got an ML crop while you're at it, which is a machine learning crop. So if you're not quite sure with the straighten whether that's good or not, I don't think that one needs straightening, but if you're not quite sure, you could always try the ML crop. And the reset will then reset it, but actually I'm happy with that. That is a fairly basic crop, but I'm happy with it. Now, with this one, I probably don't need to do any more with it. So what I'm going to do at that stage is the blue tick in the top right will apply that, everything I've done with that image, and take me out. It's like saying save and close. And what it did at that point was upload that to my desktop, to iCloud, and eventually, hopefully, it'll be somewhere there. So let's have a look and see if I can find it. Oh, iCloud's having a think about it. That's always good, isn't it? So where are we? Pixelmator. What kind of order are you in?
Patricia wants to know if she's got the Mac version of Pixelmator Pro, do you have to pay for the phone version? She hasn't got the Mac version. She hasn't got the iPad version.
Yes, you do. It's a different thing entirely. So you would pay, but it would give you access to the iPhone version and the iPad version. At the moment, there's a sale on, and it's £3.50. Is it worth £3.50? Yes, definitely. Because it's not a subscription or anything like that. It's a one-off price to be able to edit a photo, I would say, in an emergency. I mean, there's no way I'm going to sit here in front of my Mac and pick up a phone and do it on there instead of my Mac. But this is going to be funny, isn't it, COVID? If I were out of the house, obviously this is a long time ago, then I would. It's the same with when you can scan a document when you're out and about. It's just pure convenience. You can come back, and then that photo you can then open up in Pixelmator and carry on doing your edits. So if I just prop that there and attempt, please tell me that you've worked. Where have you actually stuck that? You've stuck it in recents, haven't you? But where did you save it, you silly thing? I would have expected you to save it in there, but clearly not. I'm not quite sure where it's put that.
Is the iPad version of Pixelmator as good as or comparable to the iPad version of Affinity Photo?
Oh, now
there's a question.
That's a question, because when you say the iPad version of Pixelmator, there are multiple things we're talking about here. There is an original version of Pixelmator for the iPad. This version is Pixelmator Photo. Are they as good or comparable to the iPad version of Affinity Photo? If you're talking about Pixelmator Photo, it's a totally different ideology. It's not really intended to open it up and have the layers and the brushes and all of that. It's actually an easier comparison to compare Pixelmator Photo to Lightroom. In terms of everything's automated, everything is a preset configured. It's not a range of tools that you can go in and get the brush tool and the align tool and all the rest of it. It's not a set of tools. So I would say if I could only have one, I would go for Affinity Photo. It's not as automated. It doesn't have the machine learning aspect. But if you are in any way skilled with it, you can do more with it. For £3.50 or £4.99, which it was originally, I would say Pixelmator Photo is worth having, and then make the choice as to which way you want to go, depending on what you want to do to the image. That's probably the best way I can explain that. Right, I was attempting to show you that had saved and edited, so it's saved and edited. Right, that one was black and white to start with. So what I'm going to do next is... We've looked a little bit at the healing, but let's try down the line, more on the healing. But what we'll do is we will find an image. So let's find this image, which is as it came, but it's very, very hazy. So you could edit this in Affinity Photo and make a really good job of it. And if you are skilled in skilled with and aware of the tools that are in Affinity Photo, you probably do it faster than you would do it in here. But let's see what this makes, machine learning wise, of what would it suggest I do to improve that. Now, if you want to put in the chat, what do you think? What would you do to improve that? Because I've said it's very hazy. That usually means there's a lack of definition in it. So if we look at that image, there's hardly any black. So to me, I would be looking to up the contrast on that. The other thing is the orange sky and the blue sky look amazing, but they're too washed out. So I'd be thinking about saturation as well. But let's see what it suggests we should do to it with machine learning. And what it thinks is, when it's finished having a think about it, that's the finished thing. That actually isn't bad. We'll toggle on the comparison and there is a huge difference there. So there's the after, and there's the before. I think that's done a pretty good job. Now, if you wanted it more, or warmer, because this is quite cool by comparison, but it knows the sky's blue and it knows the sea's blue and it knows neither are blue in there. So it has made a relatively good job. So if you think about somebody who isn't au fait with the skill set and the tools required to do that, that's really fast. Just tap that machine learning button and you're done. And you could leave it just like that. Now I'll show you that you can actually take it further than that. So that's what it's done machine learning wise. I'm going for the button next to the crop button, because that was the last button we looked at, the crop tool. I'm going for the next one here, which is, these are the things that we talked about, where you've got your BW for black and white, and you've got your CN and all the rest of them, and these fold up. So as you tap on the actual two letters, they completely fold up. Now, to me, I think that would put people off. If you don't know, looking at that, well, what's CF? Can anybody remember what CF was? Now, in a way, do you need to know? Because if you tap on CF and you look at it, it gives you a preview. Do any of those look great? No. So let's forget that then. CF is actually classic film. Let's have a look at some of these. A lot of them, I mean, this is like, that's urban. And if you did want an urban look at that photo, then, you know, great. But no, not me. Definitely not. So let's tap back on there and get that sorted. You having another think about it or not? There we go. What did we have in here? That was a winner. That was what I ended up with. But as I apply all of these, you get a different look. So this is what I mean when I say it's like Instagram, when you've got these looks at the bottom. So that's mean and moody, isn't it? But you know, that might be the look that you're looking for. These ones will lighten it because these are the night ones. So it's like saying, oh, it was taken at night, so can you lighten it? And they're all a different type of look for that image, so it depends on what you want. These are the ones from Pixelmator. So let's toggle those on. There we go. So there's lots of different options that you've got in there. Now what I did was I applied one and I made some changes to it. Gross changes. Believe you me, I changed it a lot. That's probably far too much. Let's come out of it. All right, so I'm going to discard the changes. So none of that will have been saved. I'll go in and I'll do the machine learning again and then show you the manual changes that I decided to make to it, because I still felt, obviously that's a huge improvement, but it's still not quite punchy enough. There's still not, the black's missing from it. So I went in over here and all of the stuff that you see down here when you've applied it, you have the 3 dots. Now you have multiple 3 dots, which, you know, doesn't help matters. The smaller set of 3 dots next to the rewind button. If I tap on there, I can change the intensity of whatever I have applied to it. I can also choose to show adjustments. So if I show the adjustments and I scoot this up a bit, I can see all of the tools that have been applied at the bottom. The machine learning has done that. That's showing you the settings that the machine learning has applied. You can toggle them off if you want, because there's a little toggle button next to each set. We keep going down. You've got hue and saturation and vibrance and selective colours and all kinds of stuff going on here, including, if we go down far enough, a curves adjustment. I had fun with the curves adjustment. I dragged that down, and that brought me, if I do this up here and drag it down, you see I am starting to get some darker pixels that are starting to look blackish. And I think I took that up. So I made it much punchier. A sloping S-curve like that is usually recommended, and that to me is better than it was without it. But it could potentially be too much. So if you did this, where you did a steep S-curve, it's way too much. But we'll leave it like that for the moment, because when we go into these settings, the ones we've been to here, and we come down, and we can go into there, you can adjust the intensity. So you can take what you've done. Let's get this down here. Come on.
Does machine learning always give the same exact change, or can it actually give different results?
What I'm doing with this, just let me get this sorted. Right. What I'm doing with that is that's the intensity that I went for, and if that's too much, I can dial it back without having to go in. Right. Does it always give the same results? No, because it's an algorithm. So if you've ever done a repair, a healing tool repair, it randomizes. So it could well be fractionally off, but I would say it's always in the ballpark. The reason that you might want to create a custom set of settings is so it is absolutely precise. So if I'm quite happy with that, then down the bottom where we've got the letter C on the grey background, I can tap on that and it has now added that as a preset. So if I took 20 photos when I took that one, and I want them all to have the same treatment, then I've got it available as a configuration at the bottom. But the machine learning aspect will vary fractionally, not noticeably so maybe, or on the other hand, maybe it would be noticeable enough for you. But it is based on an algorithm, so every time the algorithm runs, it's going to be fractionally different. But as I say, you may notice, you may not notice. Right, so we fixed that one. Not bad, that. So that's what we've ended up with there. The healing tool, so this time I'll save the changes to it. The healing tool that I mentioned, we've done basic healing on my granddad's jacket, but could it do something with our friend here who's got some kind of chicken pox, do you reckon? Not quite sure. And the answer is yeah, it does a really good job. So if this is an image, and again, it's just for the pure convenience of it. Normally you take a photo and if you think about what you can do with it, you can crop it, you can scale it, but getting down to the detail that you could fix that while the young lady's there and you're looking maybe at a desktop job. But in here, no. So I'm going to take that up fractionally and literally just daub on top of it. I'm using 2 fingers to zoom in and out. So we've got one on the hairline there. And we've got that one down there. That's trickier because it's near the eyebrow. But just draw over that and it makes a pretty good job of that. And then we've got these up here. And again, I'm not being careful in the slightest. I'm not using a pencil or anything like that. I am literally just drawing over it. And that is pretty good. I have used this photo for years. And I remember doing it at one of our MWIT meetings in about 2004. And it was like, it was difficult to do. And to think that I'm sat here doing it on a phone now is unbelievable. Now we've also got this bit down here, naughty girl's been scratching. There's a scratch there. Right, I can use the repair tool like that to fix those bits. But when it comes to that scratch, you need to make it smaller. You need it as small as possible to just go over the scratch. If you make that too wide, it's going to start picking up from her jacket and you'll pick up like a darkness that'll go on top of the skin. But it's not difficult to do this. Literally, the only thing you have to do is set the size of the brush and that's it. And there we go. Oh, hang on, we've got one more there, haven't we? But she's looking pretty happy now. Now, that's fairly small stuff, isn't it? What would it do? That's kind of the stuff I'd expect it to work quite nicely on. But what if the stuff is bigger? So I won't save the changes to that one, it'll just be faster. And we will go and we will get files. Yeah, come on, iCloud Drive files. Oh, where have you disappeared to? Was it Photo or Pixelmator? Photo. There we go. And it was in that folder. Right, in here I have got a photo, which is this one. And I'd like the for sale sign removing off the lady's back. How politically incorrect is that, Mike? But it's huge. You know, it's big per se, but it's also a big percentage of the entire image. Is it possible to get rid of that when it's so much of the image? So again, I'm going to need the healing tool. I'm probably going to need a bigger healing tool than that. To do that in one go, you've got to think about what it is you're trying to do. I would start at the top if I was trying to do that in one go. And then I would draw around this to get enough of it on the outside so it can judge what I'm trying to remove. So that should be enough. You don't want to go too far, but you want to make sure you've got all the edges covered and any shadow that's there, and then let go. And that's not bad. I could do better on a desktop, but given that is at least 30% of that image and I'm on a phone, I'm happy with that. That's not bad. It's just got rid of it. Okay, so let's zoom in so you can see that. That, I think if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't know it was there if you're with me, despite the fact it was a lot of the image. Right, what else did we have in here? Once you've done it, so I've done that image, right? I'm tapping the 3 dots in the circle next to the tick at the top. And that is where I can share it, export it, go into full screen with it. I can start doing matching colours or super resolution. Now, super resolution is another machine learning thing. If you have an image and it's quite small, super resolution is there to make the image bigger without losing quality, which is usually the holy grail. That's the holy grail. And that's in here as well. As is denoise. So it's a wide range of tools that are in there. But if you're used to Affinity Photo, you're going to look at it and you're going to be counting the tools that aren't there. This is not for somebody who wants to sit down with their iPad Christmas morning with a pencil and still be there on Boxing Day, because they love what they do. This is for somebody who wants to get an image out fast and either doesn't have the skill or doesn't want to take the time. They just want something fast.
That would be me.
Mike's quite taken with it then. Oh dear me. Let's have a look. Right, so I think we've done all of that. So let's get back into here. Discard the changes on that one. What else did I have image-wise in here? I did one with the 2 bikers, which was quite impressive. Again, I'm used to using these images in demos of the desktop. So in here I have person on bike that I would rather was not there. So we start to draw around person on bike, getting enough of what's around him to indicate the bit I want to get rid of. So that bit in the middle that is blue, I can actually leave that, but I want to make sure that I get the rest of it. And then he pretty much disappears. He is gone. And then we'll move across to the other one. Now, as I say, I've been using these files for almost 20 years. And I remember how difficult it was in Photoshop, probably Photoshop 4, to do something like that. And that's why it's just amazing now what you can actually do. So colouring over her, again, I can leave that little blue bit in the middle. It's about what you select, but it's also about what you don't select. So it knows that it needs to replace her with the blue because I've deliberately not selected the blue in the middle. And off she toddles. And you would never know she was there, which is, like I say, it's pretty amazing. You can do that on a phone. Affinity Photo could probably do at least almost as well. They just don't trumpet the machine learning aspect of it. It is machine learning. You're telling it there's a range of pixels that you would like removed, and it removes them. Well, that's machine learning. You know, you didn't pick them by colour, but what Pixelmator are doing is pushing the fact that it's machine learning. But I mean, it is pretty good, isn't it? Sometimes I would do a demo and it's like, no, it didn't get rid of that. And other times it's fairly good. So this one was obviously, well, that's not real, is it? Oh, that's seen some editing. But obviously that one is at night. So when I talked about the settings that you had, and some of them were for night, that's CN. It's the other side of urban, wasn't it? Night. So what this one's going to do is you're telling it, oh, they were too dark. So this gives you lots of different options for lightening up that image and making it look more like daytime. Personally, definitely not. I would probably go for that one. But there is all of these options to go at. The vignette ones are quite nice as well if you want darker edges. But to me, they're too dark for this particular image because it was already dark to start with, which is why I would start with the night images and then pick one of the really light ones. So it looks well overdone. It looks far better on the phone than it does the screen, trust me. But yeah, you can take an image that was dark and use pre-configured settings, and they are in groups that technically should make sense, like night or urban. You should have an idea of what they would do. So do we have any questions on that? Alien abduction.
None that haven't been answered.
Right, have they all been answered? Oh wow, right. Where were we heading from there then? Right, I will go back with that. Now, what we've looked at tonight is the photo part of it. But if you've got an iPad, then the iPad version has a whole different interface with it. So Mike will put the link in for the 1.5-hour training that I did on the iPad version.
Which I've done, but I will do it again.
I think I definitely used some of the same images. I find it easier on an iPad, I'll be honest. But there again, the phone is potentially what is with you when you need to do those kind of edits. So what I would say is, don't do what Mike does. Mike buys an app and then says, right, that's fine. That's there in case I need it. That's fine, Mike. Do you actually know how to use it?
Yeah, but in my defence, both Debbie S and Renee have said the same thing tonight. They've installed that and not used it.
I think if you just know what it can do, I mean, can you imagine that you look at it and you miss the fact it does healing? Then you're not going to immediately think, when you think like, there's a lamppost coming off somebody's head, oh, I know, I'll use Pixelmator Photo to get rid of it. But if you did just take half an hour to look at the tools and just clock the fact that they're in there, then when it comes to it, and there is a lamppost growing out of somebody's head, do you remember that the Munich thing?
Yeah.
Looked like a Teletubby. You wouldn't have wanted to use that image in that way. Then you can do it on the road. So just take half an hour and look at the tool set, have a play around with it, and try and remember that that's what it does. See, this is why when Mike starts up, we've had about 2 or 3 incidents of this in the holiday where I've said, well, what about X? Oh, well, yeah, I installed that and never configured it. So it's configured now, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah.
Yes. It's been persuaded into it.
Graham says he does the same, so it's not just me.
I think we all do. And sometimes it comes as a blinding revelation when you find out that it's got a tool that you might not use every day, but oh, it's handy when it's there. I mean, that happened to me with Snagit, and I know Snagit. But they'd added a tool last time that was like, yeah, that's thrilling. It really wasn't. It wasn't thrilling. But they added something this time that when I thought, well, if I link that in with the other tool, oh my. And that it was a total game changer. So sometimes you just need to go back and take that half an hour and just look at what it can do. Have a play around with it. Give yourself permission tomorrow to play with it. There you go.
Question.
Right.
Does it work with JPEGs?
It does. It works with JPEGs. It works with high efficiency. In fact, in here, let's see if we can see the file formats. Can we do that? Can we show those in a different way? No, we can't. Oh, that's naughty. Right, what I'll do, we will look at the images that I've been working with and see all the file formats. So here's iCloud with the same images on there. And you can see we've got these two where it's got a C at the beginning and they're a .adjustments file. These are my custom settings that I've created. So I have a black and white dark and I have one called Elaine. I have no idea why it's called Elaine, but never mind. These are then JPEGs, but I've also got CR2 files, which are Canon RAW files. I've got DNG files, which are Adobe digital negative files. It supports Nikon files and high efficiency. So there's a whole range of files that it supports. Obviously CR2 are a little bit old now. Are we up to CR3? But it uses RAW files as well. Okay. That Peter makes an excellent point there. An excellent point. Learning could be on the tracking habits. Indeed. I actually do that. I put on my weekly thing, PPD, Personal and Professional Development. And then I pick a course or a book or something like that, and it goes into that time block. Right, so let's get into there. What's coming up next? So I'll just recap that. It's all about machine learning with Pixelmator. It's not about giving you tools and then leaving you to it. It really is pushing the machine learning aspect of it. So the settings that we had, the ones that we've been through, they are a range of tools that you can see, the white balance, the hue and saturation, the lightness, but the groupings that they give you, the black and white and the cinematic, these are just pre-configuration of the entire wide range of tools that you've got. And if you've used Lightroom, all of those options that you see will be very familiar. These are just pre-configured aspects of it, a starting point to get you going. You can then change the intensity of that, or you can completely customize it and then create your own settings. There is a repair tool, which we've seen. There is a crop tool, which is also flip, rotate, straighten, adjust perspective, etc. And then, of course, you can export the images. But where it actually differs from all of the other apps, if you think about it, there's no brushes, there's no layers, there's no masks. It's not that kind of app. It's more akin to Lightroom than it is Photoshop or Affinity Photo. So, are you ready, Mike?
When I've pressed record...
And cleared his desktop.
No, I'm not clearing my desktop.
Oh, you're not going to frighten
I'm going
us
straight into a spreadsheet. Actually, my desktop is virtually
They're not lined
clear.
up, Mike. It'd be all right if they were lined up, but they're not lined up, so
Right.
hide it.
Right.
Right, let's
Shall I
head
start?
over to Mike.
Okay. Dynamic array functions. Microsoft brought out a set of functions, I think it was 2018 or 2019, and they called them dynamic array functions. They are available on Windows, they are available on the Mac, I think they're available on iOS, they're available to 365 subscribers, and if you bought the standalone version of Excel, they are available to Excel 2021 purchases. But what they are designed to do is make your life easier. As somebody wrote somewhere, they are a game changer. And I totally agree with them. So the first one I'm going to show you is the unique function. So let's say I wanted a unique list of the flavors or a unique list of the customers, and I want to put it in column F. One way I could do it is just copy, let's do the customers. I could copy the customers, paste them into column F, and then use data and remove duplicates. And it actually removes the duplicates, leaves me with a unique list of customers. So that is one way to do it. But obviously, if I was then to change one of these customer names, it will not update these because these are static values. Plus the fact the original process of getting that unique list was done in 2 passes. It was copy, paste, and then remove duplicates. So I suppose you could say it was 3 passes, because copy is 1, paste is 2, remove duplicates is 3. So that's one way to do it, but it's probably not the most efficient way now. It would have been before you had the dynamic array functions. So how does the unique function work? Well, you go to the cell where you want the function to appear, as you do with any cell, and put equals unique, not unichar. Choose the wrong one there, do it again. Equals unique, and then specify the array. So if I just select C2 to C19, if I'd converted this into a table I could have just specified just the heading, and I could have said table name, square bracket state, but I'm using a fixed range. So I just put equals unique C2 to C19, press enter, and what it does is it generates the list for me. So I don't have to copy and paste and remove duplicates. It's basically doing that automatically. If I was to change one of the states, so let's say Georgia, we've actually got 3 Georgias, but if I was to change one of these to Seattle, spelled correctly, what it's now done is it's now added Seattle in, and it's automatically extended this range. So originally it was just going with those cells, and now it's going with those cells. So let's change this back to Georgia, and it's then changed the range. So that's the dynamic aspect of it, in that what it's doing is it's automatically extending or contracting that range based on the results. Also, when I click into this cell, there's the function that I actually typed. It's put a blue border around all of those cells, and as I scroll down the list, you can see that the exact same formula is in every cell. Now, before we had the unique function, if you wanted to have the same formula in multiple cells like this, you'd have to type it in one cell, copy it down, make sure that you'd absoluted those cells with the dollar signs, but you don't need to do that with the unique function, because the unique function has been categorized as one of these dynamic array functions. It's not going to work with every function, every one of the 500 functions. It's only going to work with about 6 or 7 functions, which are these new functions Microsoft have given us. The other thing to notice is, as I look in the as I go down the other cells, the formula bar is grayed out, and if I try to delete the contents of one of these cells, it's not doing it. If you want to delete the formulas, you have to do it from the cell that you typed into. So that block there is called the spill range. So the idea is, you type the function into a cell and it automatically extends the range downwards. You can have it extending across, but the default is to extend downwards. And as I said, it only applies with certain functions. You know, I couldn't do it with a VLOOKUP or an XLOOKUP or a sum or anything like that. It's just the nature of the unique function. That's how it works. And as I also showed you, if I was to type in a value into here, which doesn't already exist, so do that, it then adds it in automatically and extends the spill range. Now, what if I happen to have something in the way, as it were? So if I now go to here and put equals unique, and then just specify those cells, I now see hash spill, because what it's doing is it's saying I can't fill the spill range because there's something in the way, but as soon as I delete what's in the way, it then automatically fills the spill. I like that, fills the spill. Okay, so that's one example of the unique function. Let me show you another one. So let's say I wanted to count how many unique states we have, or how many unique customers we have. So let's do customers. So let's do equals unique, and then B2 to B19. And that gives me a list of the customers. They're not in alphabetical order, by the way. They're just in the order that they appear in here. And I want to count how many customers I've got. So I could use the normal count A function and just specify that range there, F2 through to F10. So I could do that, and it gives me 9. But if I was to add another customer in there, customer XXXXX, then it's actually extended the spill range down an extra row, but that hasn't changed because that is counting F2 to F10. So instead of using the count function with a fixed range, what I can do is I can put equals count A and then just click on the first cell, but then type a hash sign, and it automatically expands to fill the spill. Okay, so that will give me 9. If I was to put another customer in there which doesn't already exist, so that expands the spill range, then it changes that to 10. So using the hash symbol, there it is, using the hash symbol in a reference to the first cell of the spill range will automatically reference the entire spill range. So the count function or count A function or whatever will work on that dynamic range. As the range expands or contracts, that updates. I'll just see if we've got any questions. I don't see any questions in there. Okay, so moving on. What if you wanted to get a unique list but the items were across a row? Well, if I was to put equals unique and then specify that range there, what I actually get is not a unique list, because what it's doing is it's not recognizing that I want to look across a row. So it's actually listing each one once. It's treating it as the unique values down each column. So if I wanted to look across a row, it would be equals unique, specify the array, comma, and set by col to true. So set by col to true, because I want it to look across a set of columns. Now you might think, well, we're looking across a row. We are looking across a row, but we are actually looking at each column. So set the by col to true, and now we get the list of unique values from that row. If you actually wanted those 3 entries to go down a column, then I need to enclose the unique function inside the transpose function. The transpose function will convert something from row to column or column to row, like that. Okay, so if I was to put, let's say, XXX, only because I can't think of another customer name, so I'm using XXX to represent a new value in that range, you can see that it's now expanded that range as well. So the unique function has a by column parameter, which you can set to true if your items are across a row, or set it to false or leave it blank if your items are down a column. Okay, there's another useful function which is only, or not a function, a parameter, which is only once. So if I wanted to get a list of all the customers who'd bought from us only once, so for example Buttons has purchased from us 3 times, but the Violet View have purchased from us 3 times as well. Let's say the Caviar Oak, they've only purchased from us once. So if I put equals unique, specify the array, I don't need to specify the by col parameter because I want it to be pick up the items from a column, so I'll just put a comma, and then I can say true for that third parameter, and that will only display the items that appear once in there. So we have fewer items. They are the customers who purchased only once. So if I was to change Buttons to Button, now Button appears, but Button still doesn't appear But if I put XXX, now we have XXX, button and buttons, because XXX only appears once, button only appears once, and buttons only appears once. So that is the unique function. The other function that I will show you is the sort function. So let's say I wanted to have a list of customer names sorted alphabetically. One way to do it, which you've always been able to do in Excel, is just to click into this list here and then use the sort and filter, sort A to Z. But that sorts that list. What we want is another copy of that list over here, sorted alphabetically. So we've got two copies of the list, one in the original order, one sorted alphabetically. Of course, one way to do it is just to copy and paste and then sort this second copy. But a quicker way is to use the sort function. Equals sort, open brackets, select the range, close brackets, and we end up with a sorted list. Now, the reason we've got buttons there 4 times is because buttons appears 4 times. Every time I say buttons, you know what it reminds me of?
Is it chocolate buttons?
No, it's the dog in whatever panto it is.
He's talking to me about pantos. Mike, I was reading a book.
Oh, okay. Anyway, and the bamboo mission reminds me of pandas.
Pandas, my favourite.
Okay, but let's say I wanted to get a list of customers sorted alphabetically, but I only wanted each customer to appear once. Then I can combine the sort function and the unique function. So I'll do equals sort, open brackets, unique, open brackets, select that range, close brackets, and I have a list of customers, one instance of each customer sorted alphabetically. I'll show you where I use that for real. So when I'm doing my training at work, at the end of the course, because the courses are delivered via Teams, as the organiser of the Teams meeting, I can click a button in Teams and get a list of the people who have been in that meeting, and it will list their name, it will list whether they joined or left, and it will list the time. And you can see here that Sue Jones joined the meeting at 1 minute past 11, and then she left at 11:15, and she rejoined at 16 minutes past. So we'll assume that she lost her internet connection or something like that. So at the end of the training, I need a list of the people who attended, sorted by name, but I don't need to see Sue Jones 3 times. So what I do at work is I generate the list, I go over to a blank column, and then I put equals sort, open brackets, unique, and then select just the names, 2 closing brackets, and enter. And that gives me a list of names, unique list of names in alphabetical order. And you can see that we've got the blue border. You can see the formula appears just in E2. It also appears in those cells, but it's greyed out. And if I wanted to know how many people were on the course, I can put equals count A, open brackets, and just select the first cell, but make sure I put a hash sign in. If I forget the hash sign, I will just get 1. But if I put the hash sign, then it refers to the entire spill range. And there we go, we have got 8. Okay, so that is a quick tour of a couple of the new, well, they're not that new, but they're relatively new dynamic array functions. Do we have any questions?
Kim liked the fact that they're on the Mac.
Good. And Peter tells me that it was Cinderella.
Oh, I've never seen Cinderella.
I think you're right, Peter. Thank you for that.
I saw one pantomime.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, I did.
Oh, yes, you did.
I'm trying to recall frantically which one it was. Is it bad that I don't know?
No.
No, what I can tell you about it was John Nettles was in it, which was why I was watching it. What can I say? It was a while ago. Oh dear, poor me. Right, let's get switched back over here, where we're going to look at editing Christmas video. This was something that came out last week. So we were busy working on a video. We included it on the week at MacBites headquarters. And it had Manchester in it. It was supposed to be about Manchester. So it was about 4.5 minutes long. All Manchester related things. That's the Christmas market. And Kim's very interested in reindeer cam and how that happened. So I thought I'd show you how I actually put it together. I've just realised, I've no idea where I put that file, and now I need to open it. But never mind. So, first things first, how on earth did all of this happen, and why, and etc.? Well, the brief. The brief was from Patience, who was looking for a video that addressed traditions, Christmas traditions from all over the world. Lengthwise, 4 to 5, I think it was it 3.5 to 4.5 minutes, something like that.
So,
Needless
yeah.
to say, we're at the top end of it. But you think, sometimes you start, don't you? You think, I've got 4.5 minutes to fill and I've got 30 seconds and there's no way I can find the other 4 minutes. But if you just chill, you'll end up with 20 minutes and then you've got to cut it down. One of the most important things was the audience. Who was this for? And it was for her, I think in the UK we would say early years. I'm not sure what the correct term is in the States, but very young children. That's important because of the tone and because of what you can put in it. Now, for example, one of my traditions at Christmas is to watch Scrooge. It's a 1951 version of A Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim. So I thought, well, I've got to put that in because that's like a big tradition for me. And I suddenly realised as I was looking at all the screenshots and the promotional posters for this thing, that while it might have been grand for a 20-year-old, the images were quite terrifying if you were 3. So it got left on the cutting room floor. So the audience was important. Purpose of the video was to share traditions, Christmas traditions, across geographies. And in my mind, it was to leave them excited, curious, lots to talk about, and feeling warm and fuzzy, basically. So how did I start? Well, actually, the very first thing I did was just throw down some ideas, text-based. I'm going to need to go and find the actual file, aren't I, at this point? Although we could start in a different way, so let's do that. Right, my first thing was I needed to collate... I've lost my mouse pointer again. I swear it goes on holiday when I'm in PowerPoint. I needed to collate the information that I had. So what did I actually have? So the first thing I did was pull together the assets that I had. So what we're looking at there, I made a smart folder. In fact, in Eagle, I did 3 things. I've got this Christmas video folder down here. And that's got 37 items in it. And so has this Christmas video smart folder. Why did I do both? Well, everything should be in this Christmas folder because I'm going to want to archive this. But just in case I tagged some things and they didn't get put in there, I had the smart folder, and the smart folder was configured to look for tags which had Xmas video in it. Make sure nothing fell through the cracks, and nothing did fall through the cracks. But in Eagle, I don't usually particularly worry about where things are. But what I'd got in here, some of it was mine, and some of it was stock images. So if we look at what we've got, not all of this made it in there either, I'll tell you. This one did. That was when I was talking about where we lived, as did this one, but there was lots of stuff that didn't. So I had these images ready to use if I needed them. But I decided not to use all of them. So this was old Manchester. We were going to use that for new Manchester, but we decided to use that one. So when you're doing this, expect to just collect everything, because you might have 2 seconds to fill and then think, where was that image? So I did do all of that. I even got 3 of our lad. This was his turkey that he found. It was actually his turkey. He had his own turkey. Do you remember when Mum did that?
I do.
He was quite partial to ours, but when she told him the whole thing was his, well, you can see his excitement. So he sat there looking at it like a little angel and then got mesmerised and eventually just put his nose on it. So I thought they've got to go in. But I also included some stuff that literally was... I can't imagine that I would ever use it for anything else. And that is these videos here. You can see it's even in the wrong orientation, to be honest. I had to turn it sideways. And it was there was 2 minutes on that one and a little bit more on there. So if I do this, it scrolls through. This is reindeer cam, or it turned into reindeer cam. And I looked at that footage from my phone from 3 years ago and I'm like, you're never going to use that. It's shocking. Because it was winter and look at it. The colours weren't right. But it's amazing what you can actually use that for and how much better it looks if you do take the time when you have the need, just in time, to use it. So they was something that was on my phone and I thought I would never use it. And then I actually did. Patricia says, questions about the file names. Why do you have dashes between words? Right, for some of them I do. So, for instance, these ones are stock images. So they actually download like that. And the idea is, if you were to upload that or include it in something you were putting online, in a web page, you can't have spaces. If you do, they get replaced with %20 and then it's unreadable. So if I'm going to put something up online, what I actually do with it is put dashes between the words and then at the end, I put an underscore and a file size. So you can see that in the Advent stuff. So this was one we used the other day. It's actually got there the words with dashes, but at the end, it's got the underscore and the size. And that way, if I'm looking at 2 of these images, I know which is which. So this one up there is the 600 wide one, but this one is 1024. So that was the original. It's also got capitals in. You'll notice I convert it to lowercase as well. So all these were used in the emails and every one of them sticks to the same naming convention. There is an argument for not putting the dash, just don't put a space either, just don't put anything. Run the name together. The reason that I put the dash is if that was on my website, Google is clever enough to read it and work out it's a mock-up of a MacBook Pro. 21 model, 16-inch. It will mentally, the way it does its algorithm, take out the dashes. So I stick to that convention for that reason. It doesn't really matter what your convention is as long as it works for you and you stick to it. But I would know at the end, if I find an image and it's not got a size at the end, I know it's pretty much not my image because I would always put that on the end. The reason that these are all 600 wide is if I've actually used them, they're 600. So this one, for instance, is the original. This is the original. These are the originals. So they're not 600 and they're not with my naming conventions. But if I've used it, they've been in an email, then it will have that. So this is the one I use. That's 600 wide. That's 600. All of these have been used. So that's why I use that convention. So hopefully that will help you. Right, so let's get back to our Christmas video here. So I was pulling together a lot of stuff, but where do you start? Because obviously I had the reindeer video. I had this video here, which is a video of our Christmas tree. I had these pictures of Maya, the reindeer, but I didn't have a plane landing at Manchester Airport. I love the airport, but I haven't been there in years. So where would I get that? And this wasn't my image either, and neither were these. So what I was thinking about at this point, I had a vague idea what I wanted to include, and then I had to go and get the visuals. It's easier to match the audio to a completed visual than try and fiddle with the visuals. So I was looking to have it scripted and then fit stuff to it. But I needed to collect quite a lot, so I knew what I could put in the script. So first place I went, and I didn't actually hold out much hope for this, was Pixabay, which is a free stock site. So if you go to Pixabay, and you put in your hometown. So in my case, I was looking for images of Manchester. And they were quite impressed. I'm like, oh, okay, that is the interior of our library. That is one of our bridges. That's Manchester United. So there were actually quite a few things on here, and these were free. So this is our town centre, more of the airport. This is Shambles Square. That is a farce, isn't it, Shambles Square, Mike? It's been there since time immemorial. You can tell how quaint it is, like Shakespeare. But it moves. So this building here, let's do the draw around it. That building and that building is called the Shambles. And that moves. When they want to redevelop the city centre, they just pick it up, move it and put it somewhere else. So that is very much Manchester. So I started off and I took some of these images and thought, if I need to use these, this is outside Manchester United's ground. So it's a beautiful picture. I've got plenty of pictures of that statue, but usually with Mike in the front of it. So if I'm looking for something for a particular video, it's a good idea to start with stock images. I then moved on from here. That's rather a pretty cat, isn't it? I'm liking him. I moved on from there then to what could I get from Elements, which is a service that I'm subscribed to. So elements.envato.com. I think it's $14.99 a month, but you get access to stock videos, stock images, music, sound effects, all sorts. For us, it's worth it because these are such high quality. If I was looking to buy one of them, one alone could cost me $50. So for us, it's worth it. I didn't know what to expect if I typed in Manchester, though, because I always think of it as like, no, it's not going to be Manchester. It's going to be generic stuff. But actually, no. I had to be careful. Some weren't Manchester, but some were. So this image, you'll see that was one of the images that I used. So I went into the See More on Photographs and thought about what I wanted to include, thought about what was in the script. So we wanted to say, based again on the brief, that it's an old city with old traditions. So that one said old to us. But we also wanted to say that it was very busy, and that's what this says. The town is a really busy town, to be honest. There's Exchange Square, which is where the Shambles is. So I went through all of these images. I left the one of the bins out, quite rightly, I think. And the one up to the town hall. But what I did find in here was lots and lots of pictures of the Christmas market taken this year, which is grand because I didn't go to the Christmas market this year. So I had all of these images to go up. This is the one that we used for the modern side of it. And if you've watched the video, we start off in the town centre. Have you put the link in for the video if people want to see it? We started off in the town centre and then worked outwards. So we worked out south from the town centre to Manchester United. So we had some stock in from that. And that one there, that is the motorway junction near where we live. That's our nearest motorway junction. So we're about half a mile from that. So I put that in and so forth. But I didn't stop there. I then went back and as well as looking at photos, I looked at video. And I had in mind how I wanted it to start. And how I wanted the video to start was like zooming in from space onto Manchester, because I felt the children needed context of where it actually was. Now, obviously, if it was in America and you saw something zoom into America, you'd know ballpark where that was close to you. So I wanted something like that. And I was surprised just how much stuff there was that was just like that. So you can see this one was a plane flying to Manchester, but I didn't think it gave it enough context. Also, the trail off the plane was a bit straight, so I didn't fancy that one. These ones are like 3D mock-ups, where that is not actually real. The plane might be, but the sign to Manchester isn't. This one looked beautiful. The colour was fantastic, but again, that wasn't really Manchester. It's a mock-up of it. So I was having a whale of a time here. All of these turned out to be aerial views of the city, and they really were. I decided not to use them because don't they look dour? I swear my city looks better than that most of the time. But we decided they were a little bit slow for what we wanted. But there was a couple that worked for us that we really liked. One was Manchester coming in from the clouds. Ooh, was it this one? That he didn't like that. having a think about playing it. Could have been that one. But one of the things to think about when you're picking the footage for what you're going to use, no matter how much you love what you've found, it doesn't actually work. If it doesn't get the message across, then leave it alone. So because of that, we ended up with 2. And this was one of them, this one here. No, it wasn't that one, was it? That was one of the options we had. And it just said Manchester. But it didn't have that thing of coming down from space that we really wanted. There was also the airport one, which was this one, which hopefully it'll give you a bit of a preview. That we liked, the plane coming in. So again, the context of if the children wanted to visit, they were going to have to go on a plane. We were that far away from where they were. So this is the kind of thinking that goes in before you actually even start the edit. But we did have a bit of an issue with the one that we liked the most, which I don't even see on there at the minute. So I'm going to get that in here. There's one download. That one was a screenshot that we're going to use for it, but somewhere in here we actually have that as well. But the one that we want, this was the one that we loved. Oh, we loved this one. But it didn't say Manchester. It said United Kingdom, and we were like, no, it could do with saying Manchester, which was why we ended up with this one here. So this one is coming down from space. And it's exactly what I wanted to create. And the beauty of it is I didn't actually have to create it, which is why I'm suggesting starting with stock images. But we hit a problem straight away. Could anybody imagine what that problem might be that we hit straight away? It's very nuanced, isn't it? It's very nuanced. Probably not even if you live here. But if you actually look at that, it says Manchester and it's in the right place. And it's all highlighted and it says Great Britain, which would be fabulous if that was Great Britain, but it's not. So let's do a little aside while we explain why this is a problem. We are 4 countries: England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. That's the dark bit. So all of what we can see over here. Where's my mouse gone again? My mouse has vanished again. Off you come. Right, all of this here is something specific when you refer to it. That would be Great Britain. Okay, but that is what they were calling Great Britain, and that's not Great Britain. That is Great Britain and Northern Ireland, known as the United Kingdom. I know it gets tricky, doesn't it? Then there's that, which I've very seldom heard of, which includes Ireland, and it's known as the British Isles. I'm sure the Irish are thrilled, don't you think? But ultimately, this is what we've got.
I hope you're enjoying the geography lesson.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? You need to know this for when you're looking for stock. Because Mike was like, we're going to have to check that, you know. But it's England, Wales, Scotland. So each of those are separate countries, but together they are the United Kingdom. If you throw in Northern Ireland, then it's either the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. Now, Great Britain and Northern Ireland or the United Kingdom, depending on how you look at it. But that's why my stock imagery was wrong, because it's complicated. But these are the kind of things you need to know. Right, let's get out of there. Oh, Dee's saying, I can't tell you how many times I've had to explain this to foreigners. This is Britain, this is the UK, but technically the British can refer to this as an island. I know, it's awful, it's complicated. And do you know what? I sat through 5 years of geography in high school and we never touched that. But I know the geography of Australia like the back of my hand. But try and explain Northern Ireland and all the rest of it, no. And I don't think it's fair to the Irish to include them in the British Isles. Do you?
No.
That's something, that is a term that I have heard the term the British Isles, but personally I would never include Ireland in it because they're an independent country. And that's before we start talking about Europe, so leave it alone. So I said to Mike, I'd go with this one. This is exactly what I want, but it says Great Britain. And Mike said, never mind. And I thought, all right, then we'll go with it. But technically that's the United Kingdom. And the thing is, you do say, we hardly ever say I'm from England. You would say you were from the UK. Whenever I go into a webinar, I would say I'm in the UK. And that's the whole of it. So there you go. Now you know all about it. We've then got this flag from United. So I put that in as we were moving out. And it was just a case of pulling all of this together. Then I needed to script it. So I scripted it and then it had to go on the timeline. So I will endeavour to find this. I wonder where would I put that, Mike? If I was being logical, it would be a project, wouldn't it? Shall we test this and see if it actually works? There you go, look at that. Good grief, it works. So here's a video.
Australian geography is way simpler. Just don't forget Tasmania.
That's very true. And don't include New Zealand because they're independent, aren't they?
They're a different country.
Yeah. Well, so's Ireland, but it doesn't stop us. Right, this is what I ended up with. This is all of my assets, all of it. But I did end up here with a project and a finished video and a compressed finished video. So let's have a look at the edit. And I'm going to have to do this manually because I've actually got Camtasia running and it gets upset. It gets very upset. So let's leave it alone while it does its stuff. Don't fall over, don't get upset. It's not actually difficult on the timeline, and you might wonder why on earth I am doing this in Camtasia when I've got Final Cut Pro and I've got OpenShot and I've got iMovie and I've got a million other things. But I'm really fast with Camtasia because it's where I edit all my screen editing. And there's no reason that you can't use that as an editor at all. No reason at all. It's struggling with this, but it is getting there. Not that one, we've done that one. Let's do the other one. Come on, bring it over. You know you want to.
As I said to Paul, Lee said about the odds the better.
Oh, are we talking about the cricket now? I know all about the cricket. It's not going well.
I'm trying to avoid talking about the cricket.
Yeah, England are trying to avoid playing cricket, to be honest.
They did avoid
right. This is what I ended up with. So I've got my tracks and I've put on the bottom the music. So what I did was I figured in the timeline with the audio, I'd be looking for spaces where they can just look at the video. So if we look at the timeline, at this point here, there's a gap and there's a couple of gaps here. So this Christmas music is bobbing along in the background very, very low. In fact, I thought it needed to be about 20%. Mike assured me try 8% because neither of us like music that's bing-bonging and that, you know, it's just too loud. So this is what's on the bottom. The music is on the bottom and it goes all the way through. It starts off at the beginning. Now you won't be able to hear the music because if I did that then YouTube would go crazy and start going on about certificates to use it, which I've got, but that's not the point. Then I've got to register them with YouTube. So this bit's got the music playing quite loud and then we say hello and it goes very quiet. And this is where I'm like, I really do need to lose the Great Britain, but never mind. Then I've got the narration track. So the narration starts, that's already been recorded. And then the main visuals are on this track here. So it's, how did I get all of that in there? What the order was, etc. So as I say, we wanted an in that gave the children context of where we actually lived. So we did that as we landed. And then while we're doing the intro, we're doing the intro over that plane actually landing. Then we've got this photo here. And that was a photo, it wasn't video. But if I do this and just play you through that, as that fades into it, that is actually moving. So we decided to do that on the basis we didn't want to cut from a video to a still image and then a video and a still image. So it was kind of doing a manual Ken Burns on it. So I will show you how we did that. So let's get a new project and we'll put in just that video if we can find it, just that image. Let's have a look at it. Not worried about the transitions or anything, that's fairly standard. But somewhere we should have that image. I wonder if it's in Eagle. Let's get Eagle back with all my stuff in. There it is. Right, so all I'm going to do is drag that into here and show you how to do a manual Ken Burns. You can either put it on here, you can put it in the media bin, which just makes it available for use, or you can actually put it on the timeline, which in turn will put it on the canvas. But once it's on the canvas, what you then need to think about with it is, do you want it to scale up? Do you want it to scale down? Do you want it to float in? What do you want to do with it? And get it into the position, the start position. So if we wanted this to be, say like that, and as we're talking, we want that to come down quite slowly. So basically turn an image into something that's moving. This is how you do it. put it in the position you want it to be in at the start. And it doesn't matter where you are in the timeline as you do that. So let's imagine we've got that a bit longer, and we'll stretch it out while we're at it. No, away you go. There we go. So this is my image, and over time, I want that to move. And this is how you do it. So I have in here some favourite things that I do, and one of them is the custom move. Now you will get that. I've actually pulled that out because it's in, is it transitions? I think it's in here, but you can see there's so many of them. So I add it to my favourite and I just drag and drop it down there. What that means to me, what that gives me is this arrow, and that arrow can be moved around. But what you've got is, this is the starting point and this is the ending point. And you can see as you select it, it lights up at this end. Now, first thing to think about, it's in the position that you want to start in. So that's good. Do you want it moving straight away? And if you do, then you would drag this back to the start of it. So you get the yellow heading, the yellow line. That's going to start moving as soon as this comes on the screen. Now, how do you tell it where you want it to end up? Well, you move to the other side of the arrow. So where this is now red, anywhere in here, just move that to where you want it to be. So let's say you want it moving down and you want it moving in like that. You only have one more thing left to do, which is over what period of time do you want that to happen? So you could make it really short, where you start off and you press play and boom, it moves. That's way too fast. So you can also stretch it out and have it over a much longer period of time as you're actually talking and welcoming. And even that is pretty fast. It's interesting on the timeline that you tend to underestimate how long you'll actually need to speak, and the fact that that would be nice and gentle, and that is nice and gentle. So all I had to do every time I wanted a still image to move was do that. Decide where it needs to start, add a custom animation to it, and then decide where it needed to finish. And then determine what time I've got to move it from A to B. Simple as that. So I'm expecting great things here, Kim. Now you know the tricks. I'm expecting great things in video. So that was one of the things. If I wanted to morph it into something else, so let's say I add this still image to my timeline here, then I tended to use a fade on it. And again, if you look in my favourites, which is all of this up here, these are the things I use all the time. So in there, I've got my fade, and all I need to do is drag and drop that down. Now, as it does that, it's going to fade into that one. I might want to do the same with this. So again, just repeating what I did before. Let's say we're going to start off in the middle, and we're going to zoom out from that. Soon as I add the custom animation to it, that's where we're starting. Where are we finishing? And let's finish where that is zoomed out like that. Do I want it moving straight away? Yes. And how long do I want it to take to move? And now let's drag this all the way to the end. So that's going to move right till the end. And as we play it, one morphs into the other and it moves the other way until it finishes.
Kim might be getting the credit card out, buying Camtasia.
Am I going to get Camtasia? Camtasia is really great. It really is good. It is intended, because it's got recording capabilities for the screen, it is intended for that. But they are trying to morph it into something else, because one of the big updates with this version was how many transitions they put in. And when you look at the transitions, they're transitions for talking head and video the like of which I'm using now. They're not really transitions for screen recording. But remember, there will be a new version out in, was it April? April, I think. But of course you don't have to worry about that anymore, because if you buy it, and then, who knows, might be a sale on, If you were to buy it, you get a year of maintenance. You get the next version free anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. And then the maintenance is... What's the maintenance on Camtasia?
About 40.
I didn't think it was that much. I thought it was about 30. Have a look. What did we pay last time, Mike? Because it's worth every penny. But there again, we use it every day. But once you've got... There doesn't seem to be much benefit to me in learning all of this for my screen recording and then learning a whole different package for other video. Why would I do that? So I just learn one thing and do it in there. The other reason, in both Camtasia and ScreenFlow, there is no need for it to re-render. So when you take video in, it doesn't need to re-render before it plays, whereas with Final Cut Pro it does. So editing Final Cut Pro can take 4 weeks, while with Camtasia, 20 minutes and I'm done.
£36.
£36. It's a bargain. It's a bargain, isn't it?
£43 if you add the VAT.
Well, Kim wouldn't be adding VAT, would she? Because she's not... I was just going to say she's not in Europe, but then neither are we, and we're still paying VAT. There's another question. But that's a question for another day. Right, so that is how you do the Ken Burns. And it can... I mean, you're not even limited to Ken Burns. There's other things you can do. But let's get back to where we were. So we had a lot of those where we had images, and you can see each one of these images is moving in some kind of way. But all of these were images. We just wanted to provide some kind of movement on them. That was an actual video. So that was a stock image. This was a photo I took one year we were there. We went visiting for something. Was that the Munich thing? But I said, wow, look at that tree. So that was mine. That was the stock image. This was a video of our tree. No, hang on, that's not a video of our tree. It's a photo of our tree. We then made mention of the fact that that we don't put the tree up till Halloween. And doesn't she look thrilled? That was the photo that Mike said you're never dressing the dog up again. So much as
I'm not surprised.
Much as I wanted to dress the dog up, just look at her face. No, she didn't enjoy it. No, that took us on to the video of our tree. That's our front room where the tree is. That's Mum's TV in the background. I've no idea how it works. That was a still image going into Mike and his guitar that he got one year and his Toblerone. Look at his face. Lola's presents, so that was another stock image, another image. And then we went on to Dunham. And this is the bit that Kim's going to be interested in, which is there's 2 things on this. These are Santa's reindeer. This is top secret. So again, think back to the audience. It's children. You need to thrill them, don't you? So it was where Santa's reindeer live, and it was top secret. So there's a couple of things with that. One is this was just a photo that I took, and they were as close as they look. That's not zoomed in. That was on the way from the cafeteria, and I don't know where they were going. There's a posh restaurant in the stables, and maybe they were heading there, but they're incredibly tame. So literally it was about 3 feet away from me. So it's a standard image that I did, which I then took on to this, which was my video footage. So you can see I said the video footage was shockingly poor, and it was. The quality was shocking. The colour was shocking, but it's not shocking now. Now it looks quite nice considering it's autumn. Oh, Kim was totally thrilled. Excellent. Now, there's a lot happening here. We're going from a still image with a watermark over the top that's spinning in into a video that's then got an overlay on it, top secret reindeer cam. And up here, it's saying recording, but when we play it, it's actually recording. It's flashing on and off. So how do we do all of that? Oh, and obviously directing the reindeer to run. That would have been most helpful, and they did, bless them. Look at them. In formation, you'll notice. So how did all that happen? Right, it's not as tricky as it looks. So we'll go back, we'll leave that there, but we'll go back to our other project, and we'll do it from scratch. So first thing was the actual video of said reindeer that was very poor. Well, they were moving. What can I say? Let's go and get that. Oh, there's one image. So let's bring that on and put that down there. So that was one image. So you can see from that Gosh, I was close, wasn't I? That is scary. So what I did with that was I stretched it, and there was a little bit of movement on it, so I made it a bit bigger, and then like we zoomed in on it. Thus. So I'm not sure if we zoomed in or out, but you know how we zoom now. We just use one of these custom animations. At the end of that, we needed to have the top secret thing fly in. I'm wondering where on earth I put the top secret thing, because I don't think I put it in Eagle. That's very naughty of me. Let's have a look. It was something that I'd already done. The top secret thing is something that I already had done. So in here, where it starts flying in, down here I should have my top secret thing. It's getting grumpy with me now. Doesn't even like scrolling. Oh, come on, it's in there somewhere. There it is. Right. I am not at all sure with that whether I can just copy it or not. Let's do a copy and find out, shall we? If it doesn't like it, we'll have to go find it. There we go, top secret. So what I've done, let's get rid of this. So we're doing it totally from scratch. It would need to be on the top of that, and it's going to come in about that point. But we don't just want it. Where's it disappeared to? Where on earth's it put it? Hang on. What is it doing? It's got weirdness going on here. So what's happened is all the changes I made, it's brought with it, and then I deleted it and it's left it weird, but never mind, it's all right now. So that's the full size of it. But what we don't want is to just have it appear. That's not good. We want it to magically appear and do things. So one, it did two things. In fact, it did three. It appeared and it was swizzling in, but it was also very tiny and it was getting bigger as it did it. So how on earth do we do that? Well, how it looks now is how we want it when it's finished. So I'm going to start off with one of my custom animations. But this time, I'm going to say that's what I want it to look like at the end. Let's go back to the other side of this one, this white dot at the end, and make it look like we want it to look at the beginning, which was much smaller, like that. Could change the opacity as well if you want and have that coming in. So we could take that down to nothing as well. So now you're not going to be able to see it at all at this end. But as you come in here, it will get bigger and it will come up to 100% opacity. So far, so good. But there's something missing. And the something that's missing is, at this end, we do want it to look like that in terms of it be straight, but we wanted it to fly in over here, and it's not flying in. Why isn't it flying in? And this is a bit of a dirty hack, because it's not an option that's particularly there. And I found it with just, well, it's a punt. Let's try it. Let's see if that works. So I know Kim loves the dirty hacks, and she's going to love this one even more. Right. At the moment, it's set to 0 degrees. If I were to set that to 90 degrees, so let's do that. You can see it goes sideways. So what does that mean as we're coming in? It comes in and it moves. Interesting. But we don't want it on its side. That's the problem. So we give us a little bit more room here to play with and move this up here. Right. So good, but no t-shirt. Almost there though, it's moving. Well, you'd imagine that you could only put up to, in terms of the rotation, 360 degrees, because something's got to be positioned between 0 and 360. But if you take 360 as your starting point and put in 360 and have a look what happens, it looks like, well, it's back to where it was. Indeed it is. But look what happens when you play it. It flies in and it turns round once. Awesome. So what if I want it to turn round twice? What's twice 360? 720. I know you shouldn't have 720 degrees, but we're talking now degrees of rotation. So let's have a look at it. Slowed down. It comes in, it swizzles all the right way around once, and then does the same thing again twice, and up it comes. And you can just keep increasing the number. So if you want it 4 times, then you need 2 times 720, which is 1440. Now it'll fly in. There you go. Fly in and twizzle around. There you go. And it doesn't matter whether that's a shape or a picture or a video, it will do exactly the same. Obviously for that, it would probably make sense to do it 4 times, but over a longer period of time. Also, the opacity may be starting off at 50%. Not at that end, at this end. And that way you'll be able to see it better as it comes in. So at that end we've got 0. Let's take that up to 50 because we've already got the size that's impacting it coming in. So we should then be able to see the swizzle better. As it comes in, there we go, and it flies round and flies round and flies round until it settles, and there it is at the end. So there we go. Right.
Question from Patricia.
Okay, where you go.
I need just one app that does screen recording and video editing. Is iMovie sufficient for basic purposes?
No, it doesn't record the screen. There are 3. Are you on a Mac or a PC?
I think she's on a Mac.
If you're on a Mac, you've got 3 main options. There is an extra one, but in terms of the editing, if it's really basic editing in terms of topping and tailing, taking off the beginning and taking off the end, then Snagit might do. But the main 2 players are Camtasia, which is what you're looking at now, or ScreenFlow. They are very, very similar. There's just nuanced differences between them. The other option you've got, one of them will edit, but most of them won't. But the beauty with ScreenFlow and Camtasia is they both record the screen and they both let you edit the screen recording and standard video. The nuances that made me choose Camtasia, we did cover that in a show. Can you dig out the number? When I'm screen recording, I have a need to do what's called a freeze region repair. A freeze region repair is where something appeared on the screen and I don't want to see it. And there is a way to do it. ScreenFlow does not have a way to do it. The other reason is to do a full screen repair. Again, ScreenFlow doesn't have a way to do it. But if the video you're editing isn't screen recording, then you may find ScreenFlow better. But for what I do, Camtasia is the best for me. I switched and then you switched, didn't you? Yeah. I never thought I'd see the day when I switched, but I did. So Camtasia or ScreenFlow is where it's at. Personally, I would recommend Camtasia. Right, so we've got our top secret on it now, but we've got the next bit now. And the next bit is our reindeer cam. Our grotty video from the year dot that I never thought would see the light of day. So let's go get our grotty video. I think it was the one on its side. So it was this one. So let's drag the video in and put that down there. And you will see it starts off shocking on its side, looking at the floor. Over time, we do actually get to the reindeer, but, you know, in my defence, I was hiding behind a tree at the time because I didn't want to frighten them. So it's really simple in here to just rotate this round. So we can do that for a start, and we can stretch it out to get it on the canvas. So now we've turned it round. Awesome, heading in the right direction. I cut this greatly. We did not need all of the guy behind the tree and all of this. This was just... You'll find this as you take video. I didn't need any of that, so just cut it off. I've got 2.5 minutes, but, you know, the entire video was only 4.5. So I was looking for a bit of this. I think it's where I panned to the other side of the tree. And they all started running past in formation. It was so cool.
Does Final Cut do screen recording?
No. They expect you to use QuickTime, but don't try that. Your machine will melt. Was this actually the video I used? Wow. It's quite a long video, isn't it? I think they're on the other side of that tree. So let's try and find the little bit that I used. It was there. From there on, I think. So the other side of the tree, you look at them, and then the reindeer are running around in the background. So let's say it's from that bit there. So I'm just going to take this back. I've not cut it off. I've not lost it. I've just hidden it. And I want to bump that up to the reindeer over here, where we had our top secret thing. Right, if we want our top secret thing to carry on over the beginning of the reindeer, we'll put a fade on, so one fades into the other, and our top secret here will carry on for a bit. So what that will look like is that. Let's play that in. And I think I had that fade out quite quickly, about here. If I want to fade something out, just drag a fade onto the end, and you can choose what length the fade is. So I could have that there, but virtually fading out straight away. Right, needed to do a couple of things at this point. So I'm not taking you through the whole video edit, just showing you the things that without knowing these tricks, you wouldn't be able to do it on your own. So that video, not bad. But we do have the option in here to colour correct. And I only found out about this with Mascam, didn't I? Where the priest sent me this video and it was recorded at like 3:30 in the afternoon and the sun was shining through the window. Couldn't see a thing. It was as white as snow. And I thought I'm going to need to do something with the colour on that. So what we have in here with, we've got behaviours and transitions, etc. We also have, under the more, visual effects in here. And one of them is colour adjustment. Now don't freak out when I drag it on, because it's not pretty. When you drag that on, it blurs everything. You know, everything goes bleached white. But that is going to allow you in the colour adjustments over here. So this is where you would configure the colour adjustments. So that bit there. They are all in that bit there. You've got 3 sliders that work together to give you the best colour. So for a start, I'm going to need to bring some contrast down from that. And I'm going to take the brightness down. So if I got that looking fairly reasonable in black and white, there's a nice contrast, then all I need to do is bring up the saturation, and it was probably about there. It wasn't very green, if you remember. But if I just carry on going with that, so slide this over here, I get that looking much richer and much better than it did before. You want to see the before and after, you've got this disable effect. That's what it looked like before. That's what it looks like now. Now that's a video worth looking at. In all the while I had this video on my phone, hadn't done anything with it other than watch it on the phone. Now I need to use it, I can actually improve it tenfold. So now we've got the colour right. But we are still at the point of needing reindeer cam. And you've got 2 options with that. If we go back to Envato Elements and we are in stock video, and we look for viewfinder, should find us something, we can get in here pre-recorded viewfinders. So if we look at one of these, it's a range of different camera viewfinders that we can just overlay on our own footage. That will have on it the flashing record button. It will have on the ISO if that's what you want, or the battery level if that's what you want. I took a decision as I looked at it. I thought, oh, that'll save me a ton of time. I'll just go and get one of those. And then I thought, yeah, but it's not reindeer cam, is it? So I thought, no, accept it, girl. Going to have to do it yourself. But you could download one of these and just drag and drop it over the top, and that would do a job. So if we look at what we've got in there, I think I actually put one in Eagle. Did I have one in Eagle? It was an overlay, or was it in here? I definitely did download one thinking, take the easy option, and then decided, no, don't take the easy option. So let me see if I can find it. If not, I'm going to download that one and try it. So let's give it a go. What's that one? No, that's not the one. No, I don't see it. Right, I'll download one of these then. So there's one with just a white square, got the battery on it, got the recording thing. And all I would need to do there is to download it. That goes to my downloads folder. Folder downloads. Let's open that. And that gives me a video file. In this case, there's 2 packs. There's 2 in the pack. So this is the first one, and that's the second one. They are video files that, for reasons best known to themselves, it can't preview. Apple, but never mind. So let's lose that. I will just pull one of these into here and dump it on the timeline. And when I hover over the top, there is a pre-recorded one that does not need to be done manually. And as you move, the red thing flashes on and off. But it's not reindeer cam. And the problem with that is, if I wanted the record to be bright red so you could see it, but I didn't particularly want this in your face, if you were to change the opacity of that, then you lose the impact of the red dot. So, while that's the quick and dirty way of doing it, it's easier if you know how to do it yourself. And it's not even that difficult. What do we want it to look like? Now, I do have a reference from Reindeer Cam. What we wanted it to look like, what I settled on it looking like, was like that. So the record thing was there, and I did have this frame, but the frame was a different opacity to the text, which was a different opacity to over here. So how do you do it if you're doing it by hand? Well, it's really simple. You've got a lot of options in here, including annotations. So if I go into here, I have annotations. And if I look at all of them, so we'll look at all of these in here. Some have got square corners, some have got rounded corners. I'm going to go for that one. And all I need to do is just drag it on there. And then size it to however I would like it sized. So let's size that over the top of there. And now wherever that is, so video doesn't have that on it, but when it gets there, it's just a shape. And then it'll tail off. But I don't want that to be that in your face. So if I get hold of it and take the opacity down to maybe, I can't remember what I did it to. Let's have a look. Maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 45 or 50% probably. Now it's not quite ruining the reindeer. Next thing I need is top secret reindeer cam. Well, that's just text. So if I go in here, I don't need all the shapes and all of that. But if I just grab that and put that on there, okay, it's a bit big, but I'll sort that out. And go in and actually put top secret reindeer cam. And I wonder what text I had that formatted with. Your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to stretch that out. At the moment, the text is scaling depending on the box. And I don't particularly want the text scaling with the box. So I'm going to take the auto resize away and then just put that in the right place. It looks like to me, there's a possibility there that, let me get hold of this. I need the text. There we go. Let's copy that and do that. And I want that uppercase. So let's make it uppercase. But yeah, that's perfect. Size-wise, it's a little bit big, so I'll just take it down until it looks about right and it's in the right place. And I think it was even a little bit smaller than that and probably left aligned. And then literally just move that text into place like that. And change the opacity a bit, but not as much as the other one. So probably have an opacity of something like 60 on that, or maybe 70, so you can see it. Let's have a look. That's better. I could possibly have had that bold. I didn't. Maybe it was semi-bold. I've got a semi-bold. That looks better. So you can see it a little bit more. So just keep fiddling with the opacity until it's not taking away from the rest of it. Right, that just needs to go on top of the shape. We'll make a group of this shortly. Right, the next thing we need is the record option. Well, this text doesn't look bad. So let's copy and paste that. Not underneath everything else. I want it on top of everything else. And this is going to be the record option. So I need to move it so it's up here. Then I need to change the alignment of the text. So just right align it. We need that to say record, so just rec, and it needs to be red. So at the moment it's white. So let's make that red. When it comes to the opacity, we don't want that we can't see it. We definitely want to see it like that. Possibly even a smidgen bigger. Like that. So maybe 72. Perfect. Okay, and we want that showing all the way through it, so that's fine. Right, now we need the red flashing dot. How do we do the red flashing dot? Well, it's just a shape like any other shape. It's going to be a circle. So let's have a look what we've got in here. It doesn't matter what we start with. So the fact it's the wrong colour and the wrong size is irrelevant. All right, all I need to do when I'm scaling it is hold the shift key and then put it in the right place. Ballpark, that'll do. Might be a smidgen too big. So let's just put that there. From the drop down, choose the red colour. So move down here, choose the top red colour, and we're good to go. But the problem with that is when we go through it, so when we press play, it doesn't flash. No, it wouldn't, would it? Because it's just a solid thing. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You know that if we add an animation, so if we add one of these custom things like that, it's red at the beginning, but if we go to the end and we set the opacity of that to nothing, then what we'll get is it coming on and going off over time. But we don't actually want that. We want it to go from 0 to 100 and then 0 to 100 and 0 to 100. So that's not really going to give us... It would do, but it's not perfect. And we're going for perfect. So what do we do? Well, how long do we want this on? Do we want it on about that long? So make a decision how long you want it on the screen. Let's say that long. So if that were flashing on and off, how long would we see it? On, off. That's possibly a little fast, but what you're doing now is just estimating here. That's not bad. So it turns off, but then we need it to be off. That's fine. We'll copy that and we'll paste it in. It always pastes on the bottom, which is very annoying. And we'll put that somewhere on here like that. And now it will flash on, off, and then off again. So it's off, on, off, on. But the problem you've got is this gap in the middle. How on earth are you supposed to move this so it's just the same? And it's tricky. So don't worry about it. Just put that one right up to that one. And then, because you're going to need this over a period of time, copy that and paste the two of them in, and then move those two up to the top. Then grab all four of them that you've got and paste them in, and grab them up to the top. Do you see where we're going with this? We'll grab all 8 this time, paste that in, grab these up to the top, and obviously as you're copying and pasting every one that you've got, it's way easier and way faster. So that goes down there, and put that over there. That'll do. But that will not give us this flashing on and off. It will just be there constantly. So what was the point in that, Elaine? Well, the gap needs to be the same as the on. So the on needs to be the same as the off. Well, now it is, because I'm just going to go through and select every other one of these, thus, and well, what should I do? I could set them to 0. That would work. Alternatively, if I'm sure I don't need them, just delete them. And now let's take this, which is our record, and the other bit, which is our camera, and we need, the last thing we need is down here, which is the frame. We take all of that and we go back to the beginning, select nothing, and admire our handiwork. On, off, and so forth. And the time it's on and the time it's off is identical. If it's not the right time, then that looks perfect. I wouldn't change that. Just check it with 2 or 3 before you set it up. Now, what you've now got is the viewfinder, but you've done your own. You've done your own viewfinder. So I'm going to stretch this up a bit so we can see what on earth we've got on the timeline here. And zooming out so I can see it, well, this whole bit here, all of that is the viewfinder. And I wouldn't want it that I move one bit and not another bit. So with it grouped together, let's group it properly. And now we've got group 1 at the bottom. And I can go into it and see all the individual bits, But in my timeline, it's just one little bit, and I can rename it, and I can put what it is, which is reindeer cam. And I can take that from one project and put it in another project. I could even add it as a library item. Reindeer cam could become a thing. And that is how you do it. So if you think of it logically, it's very difficult when you're watching video, to be honest, to see through it and see what constituent parts it was made up of. But once you've done it 2 or 3 times, you think, okay, I want reindeer cam. How am I going to do that? And you start thinking in individual chunks. So the white frame is just a shape, and the text, well, it's just text. And the bit that goes on and off, well, how would something be there 1 minute and not there the next? Well, I'll just put it on the timeline and it's there, and then the next minute it's not, and then it is, and then it's not, and that's it. You're done. Oh, Patricia's liking this. Reindeer cam had to be done. Anyway, the feedback was the children liked reindeer cam. Possibly not as much as Kim has enjoyed reindeer cam, which is grand. So the features that I've taken you through there are not the boring stuff of, well, here's one image and let's fade it into the other. We've done the transitions of fade, but we've also done where you can source it from. So I'm pretty sure, should we go and have a look? I'm pretty sure if we went to the same place I went to, which is in here, that happens to be stock video, but we'll do an all items search. And we searched for Seattle. I'm thinking there'll be video, and Seattle's just so cool, isn't it? Look at that. So whatever, if you're doing something about your traditions in your hometown, you may find stuff on here that you could just beautifully talk over. Intersperse that with your own footage, and it gives it the context of the town. So wherever you are, there will probably be stock footage up there. I did not expect there to be stock footage of the bins. The great bins in our town. But there was. No, I didn't use it, thankfully. So I showed you how to get the stock images. And then the things in here when it came to actually using them were a fake Ken Burns, which is a custom thing that you can make look however you want it to look. Then we had, what else did we do? Let's have a look. Oh, we did the top secret one where we did the multiples of 360, and every 360 you add gives it another turn. And then we recreated reindeer cam. Oh, fabulous. If you've not seen the video, do watch the video. Well, we think it's funny, and I know Kim's enjoyed it, which is great. Okay. Oh, bin cam we want next. Yes, bin cam. That's what we need. Loving it. Right, okay then. Let's go into here. And what have we got coming up? Well, glad that you asked. It's our New Year's Eve party next year. Now, I appreciate you may be busy. We'll be available on demand as well, but that's not the point. We are having a New Year's Eve party, and if you would like to join us, you'll be most welcome. Available on demand, we have everything that is on the playlist. So you will find the MacBites After Hours playlist at macbites.co.uk/After Hours playlist. There may be something coming up rather exciting on MacBites FM. We haven't decided, have we?
No.
But when it does, it'll be at macbites.fm. We love you guys. If you love us, give us a like, because it really makes a difference with YouTube. Now, we've been very busy, haven't we, with emails and things. There is, of course, my email list at VIP, elainegiles.com/VIP. But the focus this month has very much been on the MacBites list. macbites.co.uk/macbites-mail. Where we have been doing our Advent thing that we do every year. This is where we're at now. Oh, look, it's Christmas Eve today and everything's been sent. But what is that I see before me? Oh, there's an extra one on Christmas Day. Now, what could we possibly give you on Christmas Day that would be worthy of bothering you on Christmas Day? Well, there's only one thing really, isn't there? A Christmas Day special, no less. What could it mean? A special treat for MacBiters on Christmas Day. We have a show. Oh, we do. And it will be with you when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Which will be tomorrow. Do hazard a guess at the name. I have left in 3 words this time. That's more than I usually give, isn't it?
This is true.
I wonder... Well, we've got the Debs in. The Debs could well work that out in a heartbeat. But that is what is coming your way tomorrow. No, it's not an unboxing. No. Well, I guess it is. It's an unboxing of a MacBites episode. And you won't want to miss the MacBites episode. There's bits in there so funny. We've enjoyed our little selves with it. In the meanwhile, there is the Slack channel where we carry on the conversation. Do join us. I'm sure there'll be people in there tomorrow as well. MacBites.co.uk/Slack. Oh, we do have fun in there. We really do. Right. And that is where you can contact us. Oh, Alex says still here. That's the first. Excellent. Congratulations. Congratulations. And it's Christmas Eve as well. So I'm impressed with that. And I'm now contemplating Bing Cam, Mike. We did have police cam today, didn't we? But somebody chickened out at taking a photo.
Well, I'm not surprised. Probably had a camera trained on me.
I said, Mike, why is there a police van outside?
There's a police van across the road. And I thought I'll go out the front door into the front garden, take a photo, and then thought better of it.
Then thought, no, I don't want to spend Christmas in the summer. You do realise, don't you, that one of their sons is a police officer? So he could just have been dropping off a selection box.
Oh, he could have been.
Yeah, you see. There's you getting all excited about it.
No, I didn't know.
I believe he is. Oh, thank you for all the Merry Christmas wishes. A very, very, very happy Christmas to you and yours.
He just turned up in his company car.
Yeah, he just came in his company. Have you not noticed how many times there are first responders out there? A lot of the time, the fire service turn up.
The last time that happened, somebody got tasered.
Well, yeah, the last time somebody did get tasered. He should consider himself lucky because in the States they got shot doing that. Yeah. No, that was a real tasering, that was. And he had a dog. And somebody had to rescue the dog. Oh, what an excitement that was.
That I'd have taken it.
We're hoping for a quiet holiday now, aren't we, Mike? But famous last words. You know what happens when we say that? Famous last words. Oh, right. Patricia's heading off to the Christmas Eve service. We've got a midnight mass on. That's probably going to be online, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes.
What do you mean it's 10 minutes?
On in 10 minutes.
Oh, right. I thought you meant it was 10 minutes. No. I said, no, I was about to say, the fastest I've ever seen him do mass was 16 and a half minutes.
Patricia wants to know what tomorrow is, apart from Christmas Day.
Tomorrow is going to be, if you are on our mailing list, you will get a mail to tell you that the new MacBites is out. There is a MacBites episode that will be with you tomorrow. That's MacBites the podcast. So we are talking about, what are we talking about?
Busy Cal.
Oh, yes, we've got Busy Cal to talk about. And some general hilarity, which is usually how things go with me. I think I'll start with a rant.
Give it a listen.
Give it a listen.
Give it a listen, Patricia. You'll be hooked.
Oh, you're very welcome, Paul. Paul says, thanks, Elena Mike, for another year of MacBites. Merry Christmas and enjoy the rest of the holiday. We will endeavour to enjoy the rest of the holiday. I've still, you know when you start the holiday and you think, I'll do all these jobs, I'll do this. Yeah, not done a one. But I have done stuff that I didn't intend to do, including, is it a spoiler if I tell them what you've been up to?
No.
No, because I wouldn't say this is actually a win yet. It's sort of like pushing him in the right direction. Mike has, I need a drum roll for this if ever, Mike has been in Rome and he's actually written something. So you've only had that 2 years, haven't you?
Yeah.
But he's actually been in Rome and written something, so I'm calling that a win. That's a huge win. There may be other wins involved, but at the moment I think that's the win of the holiday. But I do need to reorganise things, and I do need to install that printer that arrived last week before it's out of guarantee. So at some point that needs to happen, because I've been without a printer that long. Right, okay then. We will wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. It's 25 minutes to Christmas Day for us, but we're going to enjoy the last 25 minutes of our 22nd anniversary of being engaged. Oh, it must be a slow burn. Well, Mike's got 2 weeks left and I've got 3 weeks left of a Christmas holiday. But I've got a sneaking suspicion, I'll think to myself in the morning, that the best present I could give myself would be to open and install the printer. So that could happen, couldn't it? I could be sat there under the, by the tree, with the printer under the tree, opening it like it's a present. That could work. That could definitely work. Oh, Graham's still with us as well. Graham, we have mince pies. I think there's a rumour of a carrot cake as well.
Yeah.
So I can predict that tomorrow there won't be much in the way of turkey or proper food because I'm intent on enjoying my mince pies. So I think lunch might be mince pies. Are you explaining all about MacBites?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. In the next after hours, I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction at the beginning so you know the history of MacBites and all that's involved in it. How about that?
Yeah, because we've got quite a few new people, haven't we?
We have, and people then write to me on, and say I watched it on YouTube and I've no idea what you're talking about with the podcast.
Yeah.
So you need to be introduced to the podcast because that's Siri's domain, isn't it? The podcast, Siri and Lady Siri are the real stars of the podcast, and they have a lot to say in this episode. So yeah, this episode's in the can. Oh, it's unbelievable.
Somebody's showing a lady bits, by the way.
Oh, that's not. Oh, look at that. Take a screenshot. Oh, good grief. What does she look like? Put it up on Cloud App. This is the girl who's downstairs. She was under the tree at one point, wasn't she?
I can't put it on Cloud App.
Why?
Because I couldn't send it to myself, can't I?
Give it here.
Because it's your iPad.
I know it's my... Well, I'll do that while you keep the fort going. So
Right.
is it's on the pictures, is it?
Yeah, I presume it's in the pictures.
Crying out loud. Oh, look at her. Right, I'll send it to myself and then I'll get it onto Cloud App.
So Patricia knows all about the podcast now, how to listen to it.
Yay! Right, there you go.
Right.
Hang on, let me get out of there. That's not the app, it's the photo.
Oh, right.
Right, let's get Cloud App.
You
In
got
fact, I
it.
don't need to, do I? What am I doing? What am I doing?
She's
when
now
what I could
kicking her
do-
little legs in the air.
Oh, she's chasing squirrels now.
Yeah.
Right, what I'll do that'd make far more sense.
And her front paws are stretching like she's praying.
There she is. Look at that. Look at that. That's the black and white CCTV. I presume that's your shirt and a pair of shoes on the chair.
No,
you know
that's
what you
her
do.
towel.
But look at her little face. There's the Christmas tree. That's the dining table. This is the top of the fire. And there's the girl, relaxed as anything. What does she look like?
That's her towel, and it's my slippers that don't have holes in. The ones that she hasn't bitten through.
Is it not a silly place to leave them then, Mike? Just saying. That towel looks far too light for it to be hers.
It
but
does. It's
I
because
guess
it's
gone
dark.
into night mode.
Yeah, because the lights aren't on.
Yeah, because she's asleep in the dark. Oh, isn't she adorable? Totally adorable. Oh, let's get back in there then. Oh, now look what's happened. PowerPoint's gone mental. PowerPoint's gone mental. There we go. Let's fix it. Right. Don't know why it keeps doing that. Mind you, it's nothing to what Microsoft did to me last week. But never mind. Oh, that's been complete fun. Yes, I know. Look at her. Tell me Kiva does that. We say she's showing off her lady bits. But I've been told that for a dog to settle like that means that they feel comfortable. Because it's a very, very vulnerable position if you think about it, isn't it? I'm not going to talk about that story that I found. Because I swear to God, if it was April the 1st, but sadly it wasn't. No, that was a definite marooned moment. We found a news story, but it was a marooned moment. So we'll hold it back for the next episode of Marooned when we reunion again. Because the way it's going, we had 122,000 plus positive tests today. There you go. Not being a dog person, which end is which? Oh, Graham. Let's have a look. Graham needs pointing out which end is which. Well, this end is the legs. There you go. That's the feet. Right there. That's one foot, and that's another foot, and that's a fluffy tail. And her head here, that's her snout facing that way. The other foot is there, and there's a foot missing. Where can you honestly say you've had a dog annotated live? Oh, in fact, you can't see it, can you? Hang on. Oh, no, I've switched you so you can't see what I'm seeing. I insist that you watch Lola be annotated so you know which way is which. Right. That's a foot, and that's a foot, and that's a tail. Fluffy tail. Her snout is actually facing that way, and I think she's got a mouth open. And that's one of her front paws, but the other one's disappeared. I don't know where the other front paw is. But her head is just so funny. The fact that her head is like at a 90-degree angle. She's too cute. She's just too cute. But we're not going to disturb her, are we? Because it's Christmas and she's going to want her presents. which is the 14,000 boxes of Dentasticks we've got. Which is just as well.
Kim approved Dentasticks.
Kim approved Dentasticks, absolutely. So now Graham works out which end's which. Oh, Debbie says that's Chewy on the bed. Yeah, that is it with dogs, isn't it? She's basically taking up there half the sofa length and the entire chair. It's like a lazy boy chair. But, you know, she's got so many places to choose from, as you can see. It's a good job this is here before people report us to the RSPCA. You can see she's got the sofa with a blanket to go at. She's got the chair to go at. And she's got a bed on the floor. She also has a bed in the hall. And where does she decide to sleep? On the carpet under the Christmas tree. There's just no sorting the woman out. What can you do? But she's happy. You'd have to be happy to be lounging around in that position. So there you go. And Graham now knows which way's up, which is awesome. I will annotate in future, Graham. I would have thought you'd have got the feet, but you never know. You're quite right. That could have been her front paws, couldn't it? Not the back ones. Good thinking. Anyway, now we all know. When Kiva's in that position, she wants a belly rub. Lola's very partial to a belly rub. Very partial. Maya never was he? No. Don't touch him. No, he didn't like that. But Lola's a totally different girl. She loves a belly rub. She really does. Well, we're going to head off. I need to squeeze in another mince pie while it's still Christmas Eve,
and watch Midnight Mass.
And watch Midnight Mass. Let's all make fun of the priest from here because he's got to stand. He's out there in the cold and we're not. I'm liking this mass cam thing. We have a camera for every occasion here. Anyway, we will be back with you same time, same place next week, by which time I will want to know, 1, if you enjoyed MacBites, and 2, what you got for Christmas. So do keep me informed with all of that. But for the moment, I'm going to say good night from me.
And good night from me.
And we wish you a very, very, very Merry Christmas. Stay safe, guys.